It's 6:00 p.m. I'm going to call the council to order. We have a quorum of members present. Please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight thanking you for another day of life. We ask you to be with us in this meeting tonight, help our decisions be pleasurable to you and to our citizens. Be with us, and these things we pray in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the Texas flag. Honoring the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Y'all may be seated. I apologize, I'm a little under the weather, so I've got a hoarse voice from all the, I guess, people out there mowing. I'm allergic to pollen and ragweed and pretty much everything outside. So we'll see if we can squeak me through this meeting. Agenda item number 2 is mayor announcements. I just wanted to mention a couple of upcoming dates that are happening in the month of May. International Firefighters Day is May 4. And National Police Week is May 12 to 18. So I'm working on some plans already for those two events to help us celebrate. And if anybody would like to participate in that, just please reach out to me and I'll find you something to do. At this time, we have a public recognition that we would like to do. So I would like to call forward Blaine Stroud, Captain Stroud. Would you also like the chief? This is Chief Rogers from Alvarado Fire Department.
Mayor, council, citizens of Keene, here tonight with Chief Rogers of Alvarado. Let's start out with, at Keene Fire, our motto is service with pride. I'm always proud to be a Keene firefighter, and tonight I'm extremely proud to be able to recognize 4 men that utilized their training and experience and made a difference. On April 17th, 2024, on April 17th, 2024, at approximately 1:01 p.m., Johnson County Fire Dispatch was notified of a residence structure fire in the 5700 block of East US Highway 67. Alvarado Fire Department and Keene Fire Rescue were dispatched, along with mutual aid partners, as part of the alarm assignment. While units were responding, dispatch advised the crews of a possible victim trapped in the back room. Engine 78 arrived on scene first at 1:11 p.m. to find a 1-story mobile home with smoke showing from the residence. Engine 78 stretched a hose line for an offensive fire attack and proceeded into the structure. During fire attack, Captain Howerton and firefighter Durham conducted a rapid primary search and located 1 victim in the back bedroom. The victim was successfully removed from the structure with assistance from Alvarado Engine 79 crews at approximately 1:16 p.m. Remaining search of the residence revealed no additional victims. The patient was transferred over to an awaiting AMR Johnson County crew for patient care. Fire crews continued to assist with patient care until the arrival of Air Evac Livestream. The patient was flown to Texas Health Resources Fort Worth and ultimately transferred to Parkland Health Burn in Dallas for treatment for severe burns. It is important to note that rapid notification, dispatch, and arrival of fire crews ultimately led to the life-saving rescue of a human life. Seconds count when crews are presented with this event. From time of arrival to approximately removal of the fire victim was 5 minutes. Keene Fire Rescue would like to thank the Alvarado Fire Department, AMR Johnson County, Air Evac Livestream, Johnson County Fire Dispatch, and all mutual aid partners for their help and the role that was played in this event. Tonight, I'm super proud to recognize my brother's A shift, Captain Ryan Howerton. Will you join me? Engineer Austin Roberts was on the engine, pumping the engine to supply the water and the resources that these guys needed. Firefighter Mason Durham that I already mentioned. And firefighter Jarrett Hutchinson is here tonight. He was actually not on shift at that point because he's in paramedic school during the shift, during the day. But I want to recognize him as well because it's a team that does these things. So this is A shift, and Chief Rogers wanted to say something as well from Alvarado.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, and I want to keep these guys up here and embarrass them a little bit. They do not want this recognition, I promise you. But I just want to say, number one, thank you for the partnership that Alvarado and Keene share. Our cities work very well together, and we could not do it. We're too small. We couldn't do it without each other. We partner in so many different ways, and it's nice to come over here under these circumstances and see all the flags and the pond and Old Betsy Road. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So I just want to kind of speak from the heart. I didn't have anything prepared, but I've been in the fire service 30 years, and as you could, as Chief Batla can attest to, you wait a whole career for an opportunity to do what these gentlemen did, and I consider it an opportunity, and I don't say that lightly. We don't wish it upon anybody, but that's what we sign up for. And these guys did not hesitate. I want you to know that. And you have a lot to be proud of, and I want to just congratulate these guys. And I know they don't want this recognition, but you have a lot to be proud of. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Stroud and Chief Rogers, for coming here and doing that recognition for us. We appreciate it. Thank you guys again for all you do. I've always said we have a great fire department, don't we? We have a great team over there. We're very thankful for you. Council, do you have any other announcements that you would like to make during this time? If not, I'll move on. Okay. Agenda item number 3, public comments. I've got quite a few little cards here. So in no particular order, I'm just going to grab one. Idelsa, are you here? I'm not sure if I know how to pronounce your last name. Canizares? Getting close, I don't know. She'd like to speak to us about the Keene Blue Zones Initiative.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and citizens of Keene. This is my first time, but I've been in the area for about 30 years. And in this 30 years, I have never heard an initiative as exciting as this one. I come to you to present this initiative that we have. It's called Keene Blue Zones. I don't know how many of you have heard of the Blue Zones. Maybe, maybe not. Well, someone has. So he'll know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna give you the specifics, because hopefully in the near future, my colleague will come and do a full presentation of what it's all about. But it's very exciting. We're excited. We hope you guys will be too. And it's something that will benefit Keene, the citizens, and it will extend the life of the citizens of Keene in order for them to reap the fruit of their efforts. I'll give you like a broad thing. It's like 9 points, and it starts with movement, and it goes from there to a mindset, and it has you know probably all about it. So we're just excited about this initiative, and I brought a little brochure that I would like to pass out.
Sure.
It has a QR code. It's still only in Spanish, but you can use the translator really easily. But the page is in English, though.
Okay.
So you can just look at it, and I'm not going to take any more of your time. But that's all
Okay.
I wanted to bring. And
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
thank you.
If you want to hand those to Holly over there, she can pass them around to us. Oh, that's fine, yes. Thank you. All right, next, Wes Shram. He would like to talk to us about streets. I hope you have some good news about the streets.
West Shram, 1002 West 4th Street, and it's pretty tough to follow our first responders. I'll tell you what, we are so fortunate to have these guys here. I spoke to the city manager some time ago about the ditch on 805, where it goes across 4th Street. Every time it rained, the water was out on the street. And when I got up this morning, there's a ditch that has been cleaned out there, and the water is flowing in the ditch when it rains. And I know that Public Works really has a lot to do. Thank you for looking at my little part of town. And it's just good news to know that it's not just there. They've done a lot, curbs, everything else in town here. As shorthanded as they've been, so sometimes they get a lot done. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Schramm, and thank you, Derek. Hello. All right, Troy Smith. You want to wait? Paul Knott. He's going to talk to us about the U.S. Flags Program.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is rather an exciting night for the Old Glory for Old Betsy flag program. This is the first time we've had all flag sleeves filled with flags in recent memory, including the 23 new sleeves that James Bell's installed in front of Elisa Carver Park. So we counted them today 3 times. We have 161 flags on the east side of the road, that's the Southwest Adventist University side, 154 on the west side, that's the Duck Pond side, 23 new ones at Elisa Carver Park, and with that added to the ones we have in front of City Hall, we have 350 flags flying tonight. I had no idea, I was shocked. On behalf of the 17 volunteers who are available, including Chuck Easley and James Bells and Gwen Beeson, to display and remove the flags. I just want to review with you why the flags are displayed right now. Currently, they are in honor of the visit by the Queen of Palau and in recognition of the graduates of Southwestern Adventist University and the many guests in Keene for that commencement ceremony on Sunday. The flags will remain displayed for a visit by Project Hero on Saturday, May 11th. Now, formerly known as the Wounded Warrior Ride to Recovery, you recall that? It's now Project Hero, and the bicyclists will ride through Keene Saturday morning, May 11th at approximately 8:30, stopping here at City Hall for breakfast, I think, is that right? And some ceremonies here. Okay. Then the flags will remain displayed for Armed Forces Day, which is Saturday, May 18th. And then they will continue to fly from May 24th through the 27th for Memorial Day. That's that Monday. So they're going to be up just about all month of May. The sign at General Insurance Service and what the Chamber President, Cheryl Schramm, puts on the Keene Chamber Facebook page will continue to announce the holiday or the event that's being recognized by the flags. Then we get to June, and we've got June 6th, D-Day, June 14th, Flag Day, and June 19th, Juneteenth. So there's a busy time for the flags. So we'll see how they hold up. We do have Debbie Bells, spouse of James Bells and Wooden Beeson, who are now restitching what we used to think were damaged flags, so we destroyed them. They're now being restitched and reflown. So that's a savings of some dollars, and that's good. And they continue to be assembled by Roy Spalding. We appreciate that. 350 flags, so that's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knott. We appreciate everything you do with that. Hopefully, this will keep us very patriotic for the whole month of May with those flags up. Okay, Mary Baker would like to speak from Buell Baptist Church. Yeah, you might, Mr. Knott will help you.
Thank you, I appreciate that. When I walked in here, I thought I was gonna hear ye, this court is now in session. Because I worked in the legal field for over 45 years, so it was something that I expected. First of all, I'm Mary Baker, and I live over on 3136. And I've lived in the Keene community practically all my life. My brother and I were living on top of Rattlesnake Hill whenever the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. And our daddy was working on Highway 67 down below the house, so he would bring us over to Keene because he had a truck that he was supposed to use. So we've been in this area for a long time. And I did want to thank the Keene Fire and Rescue in the last few years with my mother and my sisters and myself. When I call 911, they're always there. And I appreciated that so much because I didn't know what I would do without that. And I knew Justin very well. But anyway, I'm here for Buell Baptist Church. I'm not sure that you all know where that is, but we're out on, just off of Highway 67 on County Road 317. At one time in 2017, we were approached by the city of Keene when you did your industrial area to exchange property, and in some fashion, you were going to reassign the road, and you had all of the details, and presented it to the church, and the church voted on it and agreed to it, but nothing seemed to take place. So I'm sure that you did something else. But in the process, the trucking company started hauling dirt out of 317, and they have torn up the road, 317. And Mr. Martin, I'm sure, knows that because he's received a couple of letters from us. And I did want you to know that our church has just finished a remodeling process. We have been accepted into the Johnson County Historical Society. The Buell community has been there since 1850. And our cemetery is subject to the State of Texas Historical Society because it's been there since 1863. So, and 1 month from today, we plan to have a open house and a dedication service of our new remodeling, and also the Historical Society is going to be there to present us with the plaque, and their people are going to be there. The news media is going to be there, and invited guests that we want to, prior members and people that have been close to us all these years. They're going to be there, and we really need something done with our road. Even if it's on a temporary basis, I have pictures, and I have fixed 4 file folders, which I would appreciate if you guys would share. It has all the documentation with the pictures and everything, but people have started dumping furniture and things of that sort. The culverts are in bad shape, and the water is on the road. The holes are so bad that people can't hardly drive on it because it ruins their cars. And it's embarrassing to us, and I'm sure it is to the city of Keene, to have that type of representation whenever we got there. I talked to Mr. Woolsey, who is the county commissioner, and he promptly put a sign up and said the county maintenance ends here. So he wanted y'all to have all the credit, so. So, anyway, we would appreciate it if you could help us out on that.
Thank you, Ms.
And-
Baker. We
and-
appreciate it. Yeah, if you'll hand those to
Okay.
Ms.
thank
Russell
you.
over
I
here, I'll have the
appreciate
city manager look into that, and we'll check out your road and see what we can do. Thank you so much for coming and bringing that information to us. Okay, I believe that's all the yellow cards I have at this time. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to agenda item number 4, reports. Number A, review and discuss the city manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have a few things to report tonight. Just a reminder, the MS 150 bike ride is May 4th, and Mr. Knott already mentioned the Project Hero bike ride is May 11th. Movie in the Park, May 18th, so busy. Keene is busy this month. And another thing that we just introduced, our online citizen portal that we just got. You may have just seen that posted. I think that's a really, really good thing for the city of Keene. It makes us look very responsive. It's a tool that people can turn in any number of things, water leaks, like Mr. Sham was saying, some of the issues there with the street ditch. We've actually received so much feedback on that we're going to have a staff meeting Monday morning to divvy up all the tasks that have come in on that, prioritize them, and see how we can handle all those requests. But there's quite a few coming in, so I think it's a great thing for our citizens. I just want to make you aware of that. If you have any issues, if anybody has any issues like that, please go on to that, because that lets us track it, prioritize it. We can see a real-time status, if it's been assigned, if it hasn't. So that helps us out a lot. So.
All right, so Mr. Ballas, so when people fill out that online portal and put their concern or complaint, is it going directly to you? Who all is getting a copy of it? How's that working?
Our iWork system.
Okay.
So the different administrators can see it, different people in the
Okay,
and it'll depend on what the issue is, kind of which department.
so it might go directly to a department head?
Yes, and then
Okay.
maybe you can upload pictures and different things on there too. So
Okay.
if you want to snap a picture of that,
Okay.
it works too. And that's all I have.
Any questions, Mr. Batla?
Is any of that stuff available to us to see?
Sure, we could either get a report or, we
Yeah.
can get that to council.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll just.
Okay, any other
report to
questions?
Council.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Batla. Agenda item number 4B, review and discuss the mid-year department reports.
Okay. So this is our mid-year report to council, basically what we have been doing for the past 6 months and just kind of our status. Not quite so much financial status. You get a monthly report for that, and we do have reports for that. But this has more to do with accomplishments and things we're hoping to accomplish. So with that in mind, we'll just go in order. I believe it starts with our city secretary.
Okay, thank you, council. Just to let you know, budget-wise, the city secretary's budget is under the 50% expenditure mark, so we're doing good. As for accomplishments, of course, I've only been in this position for about 2.5 months, and y'all threw everything at me, so it's been very busy, just hit the ground running, and it's been great. I did achieve my notary public commission, and have already been utilizing that to assist with plats and oaths and things. I already have begun the certification program, and there's 4 courses, and I'm halfway through number 1 and 4, and then the next year will be 2 and 3, just the way they're rolling out. But the way the program is structured, I would not receive that certification until 3 years. Having gone through the program, it's just the way they award it. So on to some of the big jobs that the department or my office does is open records requests. As of April 29th, we have had 108 open records requests. Most of those are closed. We've got about 8 that are paused due to seeking Attorney General's rulings. The majority of those are going to be requests for police records, and that's normal for most cities. And then we also get a lot for code enforcement, for development services, plats, things of such, and fire reports. So 11 are pending. It's now down to 8. And then I've got a few that I'm waiting for clarification from requesters. And as of right now, I only have 2 open that the departments are working on. So it's going really well. Everyone has been great about getting their information in and getting those closed. But I would recommend that it seems like a lot of people don't understand the process of open records request and how to maybe modify when they need to clarify and such. And so maybe look at community engagement opportunities, especially if, say, the charter review is passed and needs to be put out there to the public. We need to look at some kind of either presentations as well as print, online, but a way to get people involved back into the city. Also, filling those spots on boards and commissions. So maybe some ideas for community engagement and bringing our residents back into City Hall and engaging them and educating them and just getting them excited about what we do here. So I'm always open to those ideas. So any questions about City Secretary?
Any questions? How long have you been working for us, Holly?
Since February 19th, so 2.5 months.
Okay.
About a year.
Feels like a year.
Does it feel longer or shorter?
The days go by quickly, and so I am not complaining.
Well, I want to say you've been doing a great job for us. I'm really pleased with everything you've done. You've come in ahead of some of our previous city secretaries with knowledge and experience, even though you're not certified yet. And I just want to say thank you for everything that you're doing for us.
Well, I appreciate this opportunity and being here.
Any questions for Ms. Russell? Okay, moving on to the next department, Finance.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
How are you, Mr. Williams?
Go right into the finance revenue. As you saw in last month, we right there on target, less than 2% from my estimation from 6 months prior. So that's pretty good from all standards. Expenses, there's cost savings overall to offset non-departmental overage. Most of that was from the TML insurance, property insurance. But we'll go more in that in detail during the budget workshops. Annual software maintenance, cost is steadily increasing, but the efficiency of the performance of the software is going the other direction. So we are really spending wheels and money on something that is not very effective. So some thoughts on that with the budget. Debt service fund, INS, property taxes is right on cue. That's good news. We never have to borrow money or transfer money or move money. It takes care of itself. And that's primarily what I usually do at the beginning of the budget year to do an estimation. It's right on target. Nothing is touched and it's separated from other funds to make sure we take care of our debt. So it's quite a bit. It's a little over 10 million, kind of give you an idea. And those semi-annual payments is close to $500,000. So we taking care of our own through debt service. The last, as I mentioned, software system that is needed, really need to get rid of Excel. I'm sorry to say, I was here when Excel started, old enough, coming out of college, which is close to 40-some years ago. I hate to say it like that, but Excel is old and outdated. System, you need reports strictly from the system. Nothing added, nothing manipulated, nothing to move or change. It needs to come straight from the system. And that's what I'd be pushing for. The city manager would be pushing for a new system. Because Keene really need a new system to automate all the processes. Any questions?
Any questions, Mr. Williams?
I'm sorry? We,
Are you gonna have all this done before you leave?
oh, absolutely, sir.
I wanna make sure now before you leave, I want it
Yes, sir,
done.
Councilman.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Absolutely.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Williams, for everything you've done, and we are going to miss you when you retire.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, what kind of system do you want to use?
It's several right now. I'll leave that to the budget workshop and let the mayor and council and the city manager decide, but
Do you have a recommendation as to which one?
not right now at this time. It's, right now, we still early in the search stage of that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, Human Resources, are you going to do that, Mr. Batla?
Yes, I'll go for them. So this is probably one of the best numbers you'll hear tonight, and I would like to thank the council for this. You've made some difficult decisions in the past few years regarding competitive pay and salary increases. Employee turnover for FY 2024 has decreased by 64%. So pretty early on, I told y'all, as I was turning over every stone, one of the biggest inefficiencies I saw for the city of Keene was the continuous pipeline of hiring people, paying them salaries, training them to simply go elsewhere. And we've got, again, we've made a lot of progress with that. So that's a big, big number, so thank you, council. Expenses are at 38% spent, no mid-year requests, so we're under budget in our HR, so that's good. Staffing and employee retention, we're fully staffed with the exception, I think we have 2 police officer positions open. Is that correct? Still 2 positions? Okay. We are looking at just kind of cost, salary, and incentive comparisons with other cities. We are updating the personnel policy manual, and the big one, preliminary news on the health care benefits. Right now, they gave us a rough estimate of a 25% increase, which, they always shoot a little bit high. We were over 100% again in our expenditures, which doesn't make us a very attractive customer to them. So that's a little bit of the bad news, so that will have a pretty drastic cost increase. So because of the history of medical claims. So we are in the middle of researching benefits and looking at some different savings, and we will be coming to council. That'll be one of the first things we tackle going forward in budget this year as we start that. We'll tackle health care benefits in several right off the bat meetings, and then everything else, because we kind of have to know where we stand on that to help us fix the rest of the budget. So more to come on that, but I think we have some good options to present to you. Any questions on the HR side? Okay.
Okay, Police Department.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, citizens. For the Police Department, as we talk about the halfway point financially, this doesn't just happen. We're below the estimated part of this mid-year point. It's a testament to our administration for finding cost-effective measures, and our officers. When they're short-staffed or there's a coverage, they'll come off, sometimes off their scheduled days off to be able to work without producing overtime. So it's their work habits is what is helping create our budget at this mid-year part. The things that are impacting the budget that eat a lot into it is our vehicle maintenance, our radio repairs, some of the unanticipated costs that comes along with that. The current challenges, we have a new RMS system coming into play, and right now our connectivity to our MDTs, our mobile data terminals, and our laptops are spotty, kind of like dial-up connection back in the day, so we're going to have to improve that at some point. If we do that, it's probably going to be like MDTs, and it's probably about $1,200 a car. I want to see with the new system if it can handle our air cards, and we may not have to make that adjustment. If we do, we are going to talk to Johnson County commissioners and stuff too to see what kind of share costs we may be able to incorporate. So when I talk about that new records management system, we're starting to do training on it. We still should go online October 1st, and that'll be a good thing for us. We talk numbers. If you see from 2021, 22, and 23, our property crimes and our crimes against persons have been reduced, they've gone down, but you also see the calls for service and reports taken, our demand for services continue to increase. You also see the traffic stops have increased year over year. What I do like to see is the reduction of accidents, and hopefully there'll be a balance at that point, but yeah, I feel like there's an accident here every day, and we'll need to take care of that part of it. Community engagement is where our relationships are made. So some things I'm really proud of is that we're able to put ourselves out in the community, and we have really supportive community. Some things we did a part that has been unusual is we were able to have a Christmas festival this year. I think that's one of our first ones that we've had, so kudos for that. We always participate in National Night Out. Something else we're doing kind of new is we're partnering with SWAU, the university. We're going in periodically during their semesters, and we're doing classes about a career about law enforcement, trying to generate interest with that. Training. This helps legitimacy of our department. It helps put the community have faith and trust into us. It helps us become more professional. During the last 6 months, we've been able to refresh our TASER training, our DWI enforcement training. Crisis intervention training incorporates de-escalation and mental health, which we always need training in that area. And we also got a new supervisor's course. Here's where we get to brag about y'all's department and our department. Some of the big things that's really happened. Last month, the Texas Commission of Law Enforcement from Austin came to our department to do an audit, to make sure our files were in order, make sure we weren't violating any kind of CJIS requirements, which is our security requirements. And we were able to pass that audit. So that's a big thing going forward. We continue to partner with the university to do CRAZE classes, and any business that wants to be taught CRAZE, which is like the civilian response to active shooter, just contact us and we'll send some officers or myself and we'll teach you how to respond to an active shooter situation. We train constantly with KISD for any kind of their lockdown drills. We added a fitness component to the police department because I want our officers to be just not mentally healthy, but physically healthy at the same time. One thing I don't want to take for granted is Keene. Y'all should be very proud of your police department, your city, is we coordinate our Johnson County leaderships, all the chiefs and sheriffs. We meet monthly, and we lead that group. We facilitate that group. We provide training for that group. And that's where our partnerships are made. So I want to really keep that going. After 2.5 years, the Keene Police Department finally completed their policies and procedures. So we have updated policies and procedures that were put in place, and they're from our 170 best practices. So they've been tried and true. We completed our annual racial profile report. You'll have that later on in your packet. I didn't see any anomalies or anything that just stood out from the racial profile. It's consistent with the previous 2 or 3 years. We have enhanced it with those new policies. I created some to make sure we do training and mandatory review of our racial profile policies. And every quarter, the supervisors have to go back and review stops created by our officers, make sure there's no indication of any kind of bias or racial profiling in that area. Now, with all the accomplishments that we did, I've been here almost a year, almost last month exactly, so thank y'all for that. But here's what we're trying to improve. Here's what I've seen is throughout law enforcement, officers get focused, they're driving around, they're looking for crime, but they're not seeing water leaks, or they're not seeing tree branches covering up stop signs. So I'm trying to do more caretaking things that the officers can notify. If they can't fix it themselves, contact Derek and other people, and they jump right on it. We have a problem with it's not our job mentality, or it's not in our jurisdiction. That's what you're going to hear when you call us. My latest one, for example, somebody called about an oil slick, and it's just outside of the city of Keene. So they contact the city of Keene, and there's a traffic hazard over here. So I found out that our officer took a report saying, well, that's not us, that's going to be Johnson County. So we referred them to Johnson County, they called Johnson County, they're all, no, that's TxDOT. That person's so frustrated, they're all, we're just trying to report it so nobody dies on our highway, whatever. So what we could have done and should have done is when they call, we go out there, we secure it, we can facilitate a response a lot faster than them calling 3 or 4 different entities. And that's part of our job. So I think we're doing better and not missing those type of opportunities, but we still have a long ways to go. An example of opportunities that we haven't missed, the last couple of days we did Coffee with a Cop, we did it with a twist. So we had it at Mountain Coffee this time, but we also went mobile. So anybody that wanted us to go to her house, residence, business, we took the time, we brought it to them. And that helped me learn some more about our community and meet with some of those citizens. And the officers, they're amazing. The other day when we had storms, so it's not our job mentality, they saw a family walking in the rain carrying groceries, they were able to get the family out of the rain to them. And then recently they responded, they saw a woman with mobility issues and she couldn't even get off her porch because her porch was falling apart. So it's a safety thing. So they came to me, I said, if y'all want to do that, y'all can do it on your time, whatever. I think it's good because I got to set the example. I can't tell them, oh, don't miss these opportunities. Well, the other day they went and repaired the railing and the deck part of it. So those are things I appreciate and I think it's taken hold in philosophy of our department. And that is it, unless y'all have any more questions.
Chief, you're doing a good job. You guys are doing a good job. I believe I see them out and about. Got poor people over all the time now. I think you're doing a great job. Now, you might have to give me a raise for talking good for you, but we'll let that go today.
Thank you, Chief. We appreciate you, Chief, and congratulations on making it for the first year. Okay, Fire Department.
Have you seen this? I can help present, or I don't know if you've seen the slides.
Well, you can help me out if I'm.
Yeah.
Or you.
No, have at it. Yep.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Yeah, the chief is out tonight, so.
yeah. So the expenses are down 45%. Expenses are at 45% of our budget. Our call volume is 898 as of right now. EMS at 605, fire at 293, and I need to add another bullet point to that of getting Blaine's eyes checked because I'm having trouble reading that. Capital purchases this year, the engine 78, and we so much appreciate that, so much. It brought a lot of pride back to our station, and we are kind of the topic of envy of a lot of departments around here, so that even, boosts our pride as well. So thank y'all. This next year, this might be something that the city manager might need to discuss a little bit, but we'll probably be asking for some vehicle replacements of smaller vehicles that are just old and wearing out. Staffing levels, this goes back to what the city manager talked about, 64% decrease on people leaving here. And since I've been here, and I was one of the ones clapping the loudest, back there on that, I talked with city manager and our chief earlier in the week of when I saw that, and then on top of this, our staffing levels are at 100%, and we've been that way for basically a full year now. Wow. Whereas you guys know, we've been averaging 2.5 personnel per year. That was disheartening. I've come up here and talked to y'all about it being disheartening. But because of measures that you guys have put in place with the salary adjustments and just entrusting us when we come to you and say, hey, and this is what we need to survive and do well by the city, we thank y'all for that. So appreciate it. The accomplishments this year, Fire Prevention Week. We do that every year, and we're glad to do it when we go up there to the schools especially and get to see all those kids like, hey, I remember you from last year. And when we're out on calls like, hey, I went home and talked to my brother about what y'all talked about as far as Fire Safety Week. That makes a difference, and we're proud to do that. Starfest, the Christmas market was a big hit this last year. We all enjoyed that, and I know the citizens of Keene and the people that came in that aren't citizens of Keene enjoyed that as well, so thank y'all. The Christmas parade, we were able to have, even though it wasn't in service yet, we were able to have our new engine in that parade. Probably could have won the best lights in the parade. We got first place in the outdoor Christmas lights of our station. The guys worked really hard in conjunction with, I just now lost his name. Captain Howerton? What's the guy, Jerry? Sorry? Jerry that helps us with the lights? Yeah. I don't remember his last name, I'm sorry, but Jerry, a citizen here in Keene, helps us with those lights in the program as well. And then we got first place in the chili cook-off.
I heard about that.
So we were proud of that, and one of the guys on B shift came up with that chili. He never had cooked chili before. It was a cold evening. He said, hey, it's my time to cook, and I'll put together a deal. He put together some spices, and we were like, man, that's really good. The next week, we saw that there was competition, and I came to him. I said, by the way, I entered you into this competition. And I said, go win it, and he did. And so those little things are good for our department and good for our city. So thank y'all very much.
All right,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Give him a hand. Thank you all, guys. All right, Neighborhood and Development Services.
I know we're going a little bit long. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
I know we're going a little bit long, but lots of stuff going on, so.
It's all right, they're doing great.
It's all good.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. As far as development services goes, as you can see from that little thing on the left there, we still have a lot going on. Ashton Home Place, which is really close to start building homes. They just kind of finished up some of the electrical work on the lift station. That was kind of the last component. United Co-op's running all the underground power, and AT&T and United Co-op's doing all the fiber. So I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks we can kind of wrap that whole thing up, do our punch list, get that checked off, and they can start applying for their building permits to some model homes. Sunset Ridge is moving along pretty good. They're almost done with all the underground utilities. Streets will be next. It's kind of hard to do right now with all this rain, but every time they go out and start grading, it turns into a big money mess. As far as the canyons goes, the canyons, they want to bring back and make some minor tweaks to their final plat, even though it's already been approved. So that'll probably be coming to P&Z in the next couple of weeks, and then council to make a couple of things, and then they're ready to start on their civil plans. Stonehurst, we're still kind of in negotiations. I know Mr. Miosi's trying to sell it to a different company, and we've been kind of working with them on some fine-tuning some of the stuff and make sure everybody understands what was in the developer's agreement. Tractor Supply, we're working with them diligently. They're still moving forward, dealing with text on some issues. Allsups is moving along pretty good. You may have seen some containers brought in and some temporary fencing put up, and our engineers just got back to me with their first review of their civil plans today. Hopefully in the next couple of days, they'll have all their erosion control in place, and they can start demolishing with their demolition side of it while everything else is being approved. Industrial park land, we're still looking at selling that 5 acres to Trailers and Trash. Trailers to Trash. We've issued just over 100 permits just since January. And, I've been a little short-handed since about January. But full-time permit tech coming from Joshua that has some experience, not only with permitting, but FundView and our software and stuff like that. So hopefully the transition, she can hit the ground rolling starting this Monday. As far as neighborhood services, we do have a full-time code enforcement officer now, John, who's been on for a month or so now, getting the hang of things. Sidewalk project, we still have a little bit of money left. We're just trying to figure out what little project we can spend that on. It's $20,000 is not gonna get us very far. Pickleball courts, we've been talking about that. And we'll be bringing some of that stuff to you. B-Board's been talking about a lot of different projects out there. Pickleball courts and some other things. Park facility maintenance position was temporary and has been filled. Animal control officer position, which is kind of in line with that right now, park maintenance condition, and we're going to kind of talk about that later on this evening as well. Does anybody have any questions? And I did get a little bit of drone footage out the other day of Ashton Home Place, and that's kind of what you see there. And so hopefully in all my free time, I'll be going out and getting some more drone footage of some of this stuff, learning how to fly it, so.
Any questions for Mr. Martin?
I do.
Mott?
What is being developed on, I think, maybe Rick Neighbors' property at the west end of West Oakdale, where West Oakdale meets Old Betsy Road, Old Mansfield Road?
That's outside the city limits, and I want to say I talked to somebody about that a little while ago, and I think they're just looking to sell the land at this moment, so they're just trying to clean up the right-of-ways, if I remember correctly.
It's in our ETJ, correct?
Yes, but it's outside our city limits, so I don't really have, not much. Not since they've changed the laws.
Paul, that's not Mr. Neighbor's property.
Don,
Yes, sir.
what priorities have you given to our code enforcement? And if you understand the question, where are you headed with that? What goals do you have?
There's actually a lot in progress. We have 3 or 4 homes that are in really bad shape that we're kind of working with, and they've been getting some advice from Cleburne on how to do an abatement on those that are abandoned, and we know we've got some transients going in and out of them. He's also been working on mainly just starting on getting a lot of this cleaned up. There's, the stuff that's kind of an eyesore, if you want to call it, the grass growing in the street, trees overhanging, cars parked in yards that aren't supposed to be on the lawns and things of that nature.
Okay, good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Mr. Martin? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Look
Martin.
at me, buddy, you doing all right.
Okay, Public Works. Mr. Malone?
Look at Derek, he's on.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. Here we go. All right, as you can see, I put pictures on these slides so that you can see what we've accomplished this year. Up here right now is Spring Creek, where the water had been jumping over that flume right there that carries the water back to that stock tank in the back. Because when it jumps it tears up the asphalt. So we started out with just fixing the concrete, bringing it down a little bit so it'd catch all the water. But then we got the price to asphalt the road back and fix all those potholes. And it was just a little bit more to do it in concrete. So we done it in concrete so we won't have to worry about the water anymore. Let's see. Okay, also, let's see. All right. We've been looking at some areas in town where the streets are the worst, but when I say the worst, I mean stuff that we can actually handle in this budget year. So we're looking mainly on the south side of 67 over in the Wallen Estates area in Santa Fe. There's not a whole lot we can do there except kind of Band-Aid, kind of, give them a little relief when they're driving through. So we've replaced about 230 foot of curbing in a couple of areas over there to get the water to flow on the gutter instead of in the road. We've restabilized some base over there where the water had caused issues with the road. And then 3,000 foot of asphalt patches. Of course, Spring Creek, I just mentioned that one. We've cleaned a few ditches on 805B in Glendale, and we did some on 805 yesterday, which Mr. Sham mentioned. Replaced most of the street signs, the street name signs, a few stop signs, and added a couple of speed limit signs on Shady Oak and Greenbrier, because it's such a straightaway, people just fly through there. So we put up some signs to remind them what the speed limit is. Our pothole patcher, no. It's been out every day, 7 hours a day, and it gets to the point sometimes he's just kind of patching the edges of the road, because I mean, we have potholes other places, but they're not really potholes, they're just really big patches, which that truck can't handle. Our other patch truck has been down a few times. The one that we can do big patch with, it's been down a couple weeks each month, pretty much. We've been working on it. We got it back in shape today. So we'll be moving as soon as it stops raining. Well number 7. On well number 7, we're still waiting on some smaller filters that take out a little bit more of the smaller particles. We're gonna see how well that does, and if it does what we want it to, we'll have to order another housing so we can take out the bulk of the particles and then a smaller filter for the smaller bulk particles. So we'll have 2 filters in there to clear it so that when we let it settle in the tank, we won't have too much settling on the bottom. So like I said, we're waiting on those filters. As soon as they come in, I'll let Mr. Batley know.
So this is a picture of before and after the settling.
Yes, yes it is. And it's pretty much crystal clear on the right there. So it did pretty good by itself almost. Bunch of numbers. Yeah, it's just our totals for the month from JSA and the wells and such. Got them in your reports. I don't know if you want me to read them all off. All right. Yeah, well number 7. Yeah, well number 7, we had to actually move the filter housing because we were pushing the water with the iron in it into the tank and then sucking it through the filter afterwards. And we just decided it'd probably be better to filter it before it goes into the tank. Went over all that. We got our new CO2 and ammonia lines in out there at well 7. We had to move them because the room that they were in was gonna be the filter room. See, Dove Creek. We got a new SCADA pack at Dove Creek. It was down, so we had to basically manually move water from Dove Creek into town. So we got a new SCADA pack there, so we could do it from the SCADA system. Oh, the PFAS. We ordered the kits for the PFAS. We took samples at 2 of our wells and sent those in. They're getting analyzed right now, and then we should have the results in, let's see, should be, in the next few weeks. And then the main round of testing will start in March 2025. It gives us an idea what our water looks like. All right, more numbers. The gearbox on Clarifier 1 at the sewer plant is currently being rebuilt. It went down at the most inopportune time during a storm. A lot of water causes problems, but it's out right now. And of course, our sewer plant manager, he saved us a little money there by checking a little further into that gearbox and finding that only part of it was bad. So we got it out, getting fixed right now. Aeration basin, we've rebuilt and one of the gearbox for the paddles that aerate it. And we've jetted apparently 30 more sewer lines than usual from October 23 to April 24. Oh, capital purchases. There's a picture of our new mini excavator posing for you there. Anyway, all the equipment we've purchased here is the Bobcat, the mini excavator. We've gotten that in. The skid steer, we're still waiting on it. Boom mower, we're waiting on that.
What did you say on that? Waiting on what else?
The boom mower for cutting the limbs on the side of the road. It goes on the front of the skid steer.
Oh, I got what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're still waiting on those 2. Kind of chomping at the bit because of the time of year it is.
Yeah.
We've got our utility trailer in, which fire department used once for the Eclipse thing. They used it to take their little UTV to Alvarado. We got our boring tool, and like I said, we're still waiting on the skid steer and the boom mower attachment. And that is all I have. Do you have any questions?
Do you guys have any questions? Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for a very good presentation. If some of us might remember several, in last budget year, I was asking about this, and I remember some few of us were getting frustrated about the par-end polyfluorinated substances, the PFAS. So is this going to be on a continuous basis for all wells, or it's just one time?
Well, I'm not real sure. They're still working on it, but I will get back to you with that information. But what we're doing, the ones we just now took, we were taking, it's kind of a, it was a little preemptive. We just want to see what, we got a well on each end of our system. We just want to see what those look like for now until, you know, preemptively before next year when they're actually will start. And whether, how often we're going to have to take them after that, I couldn't tell you right at the moment, but I can look into it and get back to you with it.
You know, with the current issue with PFAS in Johnson County, you're seeing a whole lot of that, and that's going to be a even bigger issue as it gains more traction. I wanted to go ahead and get some of those readings. That way we could kind of be ahead of everything, because they were scheduled to do a bunch next year, but I wanted to kind of see where we were at, you know, before budget. That way we could look at something like that, whatever we can do for PFAS.
Thank you, thank you.
I have a question for you, Derek.
Yes, sir.
On these new machines we're gonna get, right? Or how, are we gonna have people trained for them, or how many people are gonna be running these?
Well, like the skid steer and the boom mower, that's going to be ran by the Mitch, the guy that runs our little patch truck.
Okay.
You know, when he's not running the patch truck, he's going to be running the boom mower.
You mean the one with the truck with the gravel in the back with the, yeah. That works better than the other one, because you can do anything with that one. With the oil in it, with the gravel?
Well, it's really meant for smaller stuff. If you try to put down, you know, big patches with it, the gravel just kind of.
Yeah, blow out, but if you know how to do it, you could do big holes with them too, though, but I understand that. Okay. I just want to know who was going to run them machines. Appreciate you doing Spring Creek. A lot of people call me up and tell me it was a good job, so. We saved some money on the pothole, but every time we do it, so.
Right, yeah.
We probably did that concrete by patching them every day. Thank you, though. Appreciate you.
Ms. Beeson, do you have a question?
Yes, I did. On the page that has the water department total pumpage from October to April, down the last line on that sheet, it's got the main round of testing will start on March 2025 and end December 2025. Are we gonna have to wait a whole year? What testing?
That's the PFAS testing. That's that new, what we were just talking about a minute ago. It's
Forever chemicals.
It's an element they're finding everywhere, and they're in water everywhere, and they just started this. And
Okay.
this, I don't know how often they're gonna do it.
I guess I just missed it.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you, Mr. Knott.
You know, we're all appreciative of having it, including the routes we take in our car. I'm never on Spring Creek, but I was here the other day, and that photograph does not do justice to the work they did on Spring Creek. They did an amazing job.
They did, you're right, Paul. It was a good job they did up there.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Malone. We appreciate you. All right, I think this is our last department, administration.
Okay, one more slide. All ARPA fund projects are now in motion. We will discuss the tractor supply development, but we have really worked hard to keep them developing, keep them coming this way. Our impact fees are about to cross the finish line next council meeting. We couldn't get them on this council meeting because we needed that public notice time. They'll be on next council meeting, so that's good news. Got a lot of type A and B projects, mainly type B, well, no, type A and B projects that some of them we're presenting tonight, so a lot of stuff going on there. And, you know, as we start looking at budget, I am working at a sales tax tax-based street fund. We talked about attacking streets from every angle that we possibly can, and you know, every year that's one of the #1 council priorities. And so I'm going to look at something like that, which is an opportune time because that would have to go toward the voters in the next election. So working on that, and we'll be bringing that to council soon. So that'll be hopefully something big for our streets. Again, we're in the middle of applying for more grants, and I think we have a good chance at some of them. I think we'll rank pretty high, and so that's what's going on. Other than all this, any questions that I can answer? I'm trying. So. All right. So as far as mid-year requests, that's an actual. I think that's one of our.
I think you had
items.
this,
We'll come
this is
back.
an agenda item.
All right, so that concludes our report. If you don't have any other questions.
Any questions for Mr. Batlow? Okay. We'll go ahead and move on. All right, moving on to agenda item number 5, public hearing. We do not have a public hearing scheduled tonight. Moving on to agenda item number 6, consent agenda. All items listed below have either been previously discussed, require no deliberation, or routine by the city council, will be enacted with one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of the items unless council, you would like me to pull one of them out of consent. Items to be withdrawn from the consent agenda for separate discussion by the city council. If discussion is desired, the item will be removed from the consent agenda, considered separately. Otherwise, approval of the consent agenda authorizes the city manager to implement each item in accordance with the staff's recommendations. So the 4 items, council, that we have under the consent tonight is A, consider approval of the Keene Police Department racial profiling report. B, consider approval of the declaration of abandonment of easement and quitclaim deed to MKP Development, LLC. And number C, consider approval of city council meeting minutes dated April 18, 2024. And D, consider approval of resolution number 2024-443 to remove Tiffany McDaniel as a signatory on city bank accounts. Council, do you have any of these items that you would like to remove from consent?
I'd like to remove the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay. Anything else, council? All right, Mr. Foster, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to remove item D.
Okay.
Might have a question.
Number D?
Yes, item D.
Okay. Council, we're removing items number C and D, so I need a motion to approve the consent agenda for items A and B.
So move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve the consent agenda by Foster and a second by Bells. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed?
No.
You approved? 4? Okay, motion is carried. It's unanimous. Okay, now we're going to discuss item number 6C, consider approval of city council meeting minutes dated April 18, 2024.
It's just a small item. It's under Section 7, the general section, Part B, where we're talking about the fire hydrant situation out in North Hill Estates. The one thing I had an issue with was the sentence in the middle of the paragraph there where it says, talking about the city attorney, Robert Brown. The sentence is, he recommended the city consider buying the Certificate of Convenience and Necessity, or CCN, and the water system in that area in order to improve them and for the residents to file complaints to the da-da-da-da-da-da, okay? I don't know so much that it was a recommendation as he said the only thing you could do was buy that. So I'd rather the minute stated that one option was, rather than to say it was a recommendation coming from our attorney.
Okay, do you want to just amend that sentence then, or instead of saying he recommended, just say discussion took place about the city buying the certificate?
That's what I'd like it to say.
And take out-
the word recommended, the recommendation part of it.
Okay, does that make sense, Ms. Russell? Just take out the he recommended and change the wording just to show that we discussed it, but it wasn't recommended by the attorney.
Mayor, question, so how do you want it to read?
Well, my suggestion was, the city attorney stated that one option was for the city to consider, or you could just say, discussion was, council discussed the city buying it, take the attorney out of it altogether. I don't really have a burden either way, I just want to take out the verbiage that says city attorney recommended it.
So are we removing the name of the attorney himself? You don't want the name there?
No, he's going to leave the first sentence.
Okay.
He's going to leave the sentence that says, Robert Brown, city attorney, noted that the company cannot be forced to improve their lines, and the city cannot improve lines it does not own. Council discussed buying the certificate of convenience and necessity, CCN, and the water system. Yeah, he just wants to take off the second sentence.
Okay.
Everybody understand that, council? If you do, if you want to make a motion, Mr. Foster?
I'd like to make a motion that we amend the minutes under section 7, letter B, that sentence stated that we take out, he recommended the city consider buying the CCN, and just say it was discussed.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve the city council meeting minutes dated April 18, 2024, with the correction to remove the words "he recommended" from section 7B and replace it with verbiage to indicate that the council discussed buying the certificates and not that the attorney recommended them. By Foster, and a second by Gutwa. Any further discussion on this motion? All in favor, raise your hand. Those opposed? You for it again? You slow in the draw today? Okay, motion is carried, it's unanimous. Okay, agenda item number 6D, consider approval of resolution number 2024-443 to remove Tiffany McDaniel as signatory on the city bank accounts. Mr. Gupta, but did you have a question on that one?
Yeah, I just have a question to the city manager. Maybe if you can be able to maybe update us regarding why we are removing Tiffany.
Yes, she has moved from full-time status to basically a professional service, kind of like our temp service contractor was previously when we were without a HR director. So with her resignation from the full-time status, we wanted to remove her signature card.
Okay. So currently we have how many staff that are on the signatories to the bank? How many are they?
There was 4.
Now we have 3.
Now we have 3, yeah.
Okay.
Did she ever sign those bank statements? Did that,
Never made it.
I was gonna say, I don't remember us ever if we made that change or not. If that means we're all gonna have to go back to the bank and re-sign again. Okay, any other questions for Mr. Battle on that one? Okay. You wanna make a motion, Mr. Gutwa?
Yes, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda item D as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve resolution number 2024-443 to remove Tiffany McDaniel as signatory on city bank accounts as presented by Gutwa and second by Johnson. Any further discussion on this motion? All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous, motion is carried. Moving on to agenda item number 7A, review, discuss, and consider the application of Robert Chapman for appointment to the EDC Type B Board.
Yes, at its last meeting, the Type B Board received and reviewed the application of Mr. Robert Chapman to fill the vacancy that is on this board. And he comes as a longtime resident of Keene, as well as with a strong financial background. And so they have approved and are recommending his nomination to the EDC Type B Board to the council.
And this will complete that board, correct? Then it'll be full?
That will fill your board.
That'll fill up the board? Okay.
I motion to deny that, Lisa. Me.
Sorry?
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I didn't, a motion that denied that.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to deny the appointment of Robert Chapman to the Economic Development Type B Board by Johnson. Do we have a second? Okay, the motion fails for lack of a second. Do we have any other motions, council?
Okay. Mayor, I would like to make a motion.
Okay,
I make a motion to approve the appointment of Robert Chapman to the Economic Development Type B Board.
we have a motion on the floor to approve the appointment of Robert Chapman to the Economic Development Type B Board by Gutwa. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on this motion? All in favor, raise your hand.
Mayor, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Chapman, would you mind discussing with us a moment at the microphone?
Mayor, council, thank you.
Some of us are struggling with your application. Needless to say, it's been a rocky road with you, and I would like a little more confirmation from you that we can move past some of these things. You've been up in front of council and you've hammered us pretty good. You filed 2 complaints on one of the council people. And frankly, I have a hard time putting you in that position if that kind of thing continues.
I would agree with that. I would tell you that I've been with 4 councils in my lifetime. I've seen a lot. I've wanted to be involved in it, and I've never seen anybody jump up with the kind of anger that Ray Johnson showed that day. And it was anger. It wasn't anything else but anger, just because I said something that I felt. I felt like the mayor has been bullied too much here. I think that the mayor deserves to be recognized as a mayor, a duly elected mayor. I was probably more passionate than angry about any and all of it. I've just never seen anything like that. I'm here because I'd like to correct things. I'd like to make things better. I'd like to make the city better. I chose to move here after 25 years of living in big cities, dealing with stuff like that. I love this place. Every time I came here, I met people I loved. Every time I left here, I wanted to come back. And I did. And when I did, I found a lot of things that I felt were not in place, not necessarily anyone's fault, but the collective fault of the city not kind of catching up with what needed to be happening to grow. And I think that's something that people plan over a lot of years. I think it's something that people look forward to do, is growing. And this town didn't seem to want to grow. And I want to be involved with it. And it's about passion. It's not about anger. It's not about anything else but passion. And I like Keene. And I'm gonna stay here. And I'm gonna be involved in it. Whether you let me be in any group or council or anything, I feel good here. So I have nothing against anybody here. I love human beings. I love meeting with people, talking with people, and that's why I reached out with you on a couple of occasions. I'd like to be a part of it all. I would. I'd like to be a part of the council sometime. I just want to share my efforts, my knowledge, and my financial ability with the city of Keene. When I had an HOA meeting here in the city hall, I invited everybody in the city to come to us and to meet us in our subdivision. Glenn came, she came. She was there, and I was just really happy to see her there. And she made a good part of our meeting happen. I think that, as Miss Samantha Gillen said, that I'm an angry old man that night. I'm not. I'm very passionate. I'm very forgiving, and I'm very happy to be here. So I'd really like it if the council would see their way through to let me be a part of this city and grow the city. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I have a problem with you.
I know you do.
Tonight, I really don't have a problem with you. I don't like how you got up here and accused every one of us of how we treat her. If you only knew the facts, what I did for this lady for 6 months till she lied to us in 4 days, that's why I rooted her out from being the city manager. The fact is, nobody knows how we treated her. I was on her side for 6 months, and she could sit here and tell you that. If she doesn't, that'd be a lie. Both of them can.
I heard
You
that's
counsel
true.
right here, I took this guy, this lady, this man right here, I'm not afraid to say. It surprised me they talked to me. The way I talked to Miss Beeson, my mother would have smacked me in my mouth today. So that's the only thing I didn't like. You get up here and you're accusing us of something we don't do.
I didn't accuse anybody of anything. All I said was you treat her terribly in a public setting. That's what I said.
But she done it to herself. Nobody else done
I didn't have anything
that.
to do with that. I wasn't here for that.
Okay, I'm just explaining
I'm only
to
here
you.
for what I'm here for, and I only know what I saw. Okay? That's what I was expressing.
Okay, I appreciate you, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Gillen?
Samantha Gillen, 218 West 4th Street, Keene, Texas. Mr. Chapman, I want to correct you on something. I didn't say you were a grumpy, ugly old,
You wrote it.
whatever
You
old
wrote
man.
it in Facebook. That was an
No, I
angry
did
old man.
not. Someone is taking people's names and putting stuff out there they did not say. I said you were an ugly man. I didn't say you were anything else. And I will, if my name is on it, I said it, and that's what I said, but I didn't put it on Facebook.
Okay. Well, I appreciate
So
that.
I don't know who else did that. My problem with you being on any of our boards is because you've done certain things that have hurt a lot of us, and you also were not very respectful to our city council. And the mayor, I've never called her names. I have talked to her about things that I didn't like that she did. And there's a big difference. And that day you stood up here and you yelled and screamed at Ray when everybody was going into executive council. She stayed here and then she walked down and talked to you down there. But you started that and you yelled and screamed at him. And he hadn't done anything to you that day.
I think he knows what he did.
Well, no.
But did I not?
We were here. Some of us were here. That's
All of you were
exactly
here.
what you did. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Ms. Gillen.
Did I not come out here and tell you I was sorry right after that?
You did.
Okay, my question is now, why did you file another one on me? I mean, I've done one thing and apologized to you in front of everybody.
I did it because your apology was met with me after 2 council members went to you right in that corner and said, you need to go talk to him and apologize to him.
That's not true.
That's what I heard.
Not true. You know what they told me? Calm down, Ray. Don't let that guy get you worked up. That was it. They don't tell me how to live. So I'm just letting you know.
Did he tell you that?
He didn't tell me anything about go apologize to you. No, sir.
That's what I
Did
heard.
you tell me apologize to this gentleman? You did?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't hear him because my hearing, that's why I got hearing aids.
I need him, but I
didn't
heard.
hear him. But anyway, I didn't hear him say it. I apologize to you
Thank you
because
for
I
being
wanted
honest,
to be the
James.
man.
Yeah.
You know, I
No,
gotta-
I have nothing wrong with you except your attitude that night with me. That's all. And that's what got me fired up.
That's why I came and apologized to you.
Okay.
I did not hear him say that, and I mean that with all my heart.
Okay.
Otherwise,
Hey, you and I can get along just fine if we just sit down and talk. I've asked for 2 times to sit with James. I want to talk. We just arranged it tonight. We're going to sit down and have a conversation, and we're going to have a peaceful conversation. I'd like you to be there too. I'd like anybody to be there. All of you, whatever. Okay?
All right, counsel.
I guess my problem is, why are we going to executive session for another administrative complaint against Ray Johnson tonight? if you're forgiving,
Nothing's ever been answered.
well, wait a minute,
Nothing ever came of it.
you just stated that you're forgiving
Oh,
in
absolutely.
your little presentation, and yet here we are again tonight addressing another issue that happened, what, a couple months ago?
Okay. I would like to just rescind that then, and we can start over again. How's that? Is that good?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chapman.
How do I need to do that? I'd like to know what I need to do to rescind that, because I want to make sure it's done legally and the right way.
We could.
We
It's
gotta
on the
go.
agenda, but we can
Okay,
omit that item
sounds good.
if we need to.
I don't want to take a bunch of money and time to do something that we can do together.
We could have it open session though.
Okay.
Talk about, that's where he could hear it.
Sound good?
Mr.
That's
Goodwin?
where you
yes,
can
sir.
hear what everybody gonna say.
May I have Troy, do you want to speak? Okay. Council, I want to, I've been attending this council meeting for many years. Some of us have been reelected year after year. I can tell you, if we started interrogating every board member based on what they have done before the council, I don't think we'll be very honest with each other. The public knows. I've been here. Sometimes I've seen some of our board members, type A, type B, who have been hostile towards either the mayor or one of us, and sometimes towards me sometimes. And when it comes to voting, I don't hold those personal feelings against somebody who is willing to serve the city. I put my personal feelings out of that door. When I get here, I do what I was elected to do. There are so many board members here. If we start picking one, and there are so many, we won't have any board member. So we have to be careful. If we start this trend or this precedence, then maybe we should hold the same standard to every board member. Thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to move this agenda item until after the executive session item with the personnel issue.
We already have a motion and a second on the floor. I think I have to go ahead and call for a vote at this point. We had a motion by Guwa to approve the appointment of Robert Chapman and seconded by Easley. Just to remind the council, since we're having a discussion on this item, Mr. Chapman will follow the same code of conduct that all our other board members follow. So once he is appointed to this board, he will also, go through the proper training of the Open Meetings Act, the Public Information Act, and he will also sign the code of conduct that will also say that he's going to present himself in a certain way that I think we're all trying to do to each other to show respect. So I feel like Mr. Chapman would make a good appointment to this board. We do need a board member to be on that board, and we do need someone to serve, and he's willing and able to. And as Mr. Gutwa said, if you try to hold everything that everybody has said in front of this board to us, from every board member, then we wouldn't have any boards. We wouldn't have anybody serving right now.
I'm not concerned about what people say. I'm concerned about when they officially file a complaint against a city council member twice. That's the part that concerns me.
Mr. Chapman has just said he's withdrawing in the second one.
It's still on the agenda. He can't withdraw it until we discuss it. And go ahead. What was your question?
Well, my question is I think that with the passion that anybody feels when they come in here, that's why we're here, all of us, that you have to deal with things as you see them. And when I saw the reaction that I got, it wasn't like anything I've ever seen in a city council meeting. So I got kind of right there with him, and I apologize for that. I do. In fact, so much that I just was willing to rescind it, because it's not important to me that he's done anything to him. What's important to me is that we all realize what's happening here. That the mayor was duly elected by the public, and then she has to suffer all kinds of browbeating and stuff in the council, and I just don't believe that's right, so I expressed that. I think it's my right to express that.
Have you seen the amount of browbeating that's happened to other members of council on her behalf on Facebook? Are you aware of that? Have you seen that?
I read Facebook for the last 2 years, yes.
All right, well, it's a two-way street.
It is a two-way street.
And
That's why I
I've
was
given her
asking
every
for
bit
a
of
meeting.
respect, and I have not received on Facebook from her supporters, but I still give her respect. It's time to vote.
And I can understand your passion. I got no problem with passion. I don't even not even concerned about getting upset. The part that really troubles me is being a team player and coming to us twice with this same complaint. That's the part that I'm having a difficult time with.
The reason why I came to the second time, nothing was done the first time, and it kept going and going and going.
There's nothing that can be done. That was explained to you the first time you came. There was nothing that can be done. So why do we spend 20 minutes now talking about this
I don't
again?
remember even being said that. I don't know what you're talking about there.
Was that not discussed in council?
James Bell was talking.
Yes, we discussed the fact that we had no rules of order or code of conduct at the time, therefore, there's nothing the council could do about it. And, sir, this is the reason I have trouble with this. You've incited, maybe I incited, a 30-minute ordeal over this, and you're pounding us again for the mayor, over the mayor. That doesn't have anything to do with you being appointed to this board, does it?
No, that doesn't. You were asking.
Okay, then let's
why-
don't discuss that.
You were asking me why I reacted the way I did. That's what I was explaining.
Okay.
No, the question is, why are we up here the second time going to executive session? That's the question.
The answer is that I have had no answers about anything on the first time.
And were you not in council the night we discussed that there was nothing that could be done because we had not enacted the rules of conduct yet?
I don't believe I was.
You just said you watched council for the last 2 years.
No, I haven't watched it for 2 years. It's only been on since December.
Okay, but hey, all right, I'm just saying that things don't add up. You say you're forgiving, but yet we're back here. So, in any case, that's all I'm gonna say.
I am forgiving, and I want to work with the city to make the city better. That's all.
Ms. Sham?
Cheryl Shram, 1002 West 4th Street here in Keene, and I am a member of this board. And I think that Mr. Chapman has good qualifications to be a good part of our board. I'm wondering if you can make some kind of ancillary motion on your motion, if there's some way that you can pause this or table it until things can settle down. We can bring it back. If this thing could die for a lack of, or you just neutralize it. I don't have my Robert's Rules of Order. I'm not quite as well versed on it as you seem to be lately, but I wonder if there isn't something you can just do so we can have a cooling off period. We don't have to try to bring him back or anything. I don't want it totally eliminated because I think he could be a good addition to the board, qualification-wise. And if he signs the code of conduct and he takes all the trainings and, you know, is free to express an opposing opinion to someone else's, but does it in a proper manner, you know, if he's out of order, we can take him off of the board too, which I don't think we'll see that. So that's my request.
How do we want somebody on the board that's gonna sit here and hit their hand on this desk and upset? How can you want somebody?
But
Maybe we
that-
picked the wrong person when we picked you if you're gonna do stuff like that.
That
I believe.
behavior has not been in our board, and this incident, if I understand correctly, took place before the rules of conduct were voted in, and now you're going to abide by them because you have agreed to. He's going to come on the board, we're going to give him a chance, he's going to abide by them. And I don't know why he brought it back, but he's now asked to rescind it. So that's why I'm wondering if you can pause this, maybe until the next meeting, let this thing cool off. If not, then you'll do what you have to do. But I would like to see it at least come to the place where it can be considered after this other thing has been resolved. Because to just hold a grudge forever on either side is not going to get us anywhere. You know, Ray and I have a history too, but we resolved it. And so, and I think, you know, Mr. Chapman and Ray could have a history and they could resolve it and they could have a good relationship later. I know Ray is open to being, in spite of the problems that he and I had many years ago, we have a good relationship now as far as I know. And he feels free to say what he needs to say to me in a decent and controlled manner, and I to him. So that's
I
just.
appreciate that.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. But,
Thank you.
Ms. Sharm, I just have one question. We sit here at one time, every one of us, and they decide, James told them what was going on. He was here.
Mm-hmm.
Then he wants to file another complaint. For what? That's the question that it's hard to, how can you trust somebody? How can you trust somebody? Me and you had problems, but it didn't go that far. Me and Ms. Gillen had a lot of problems, but did it go that far? No. So why do you, how can you trust somebody when they do something? We let somebody on this get somewhere else, and I don't want to say names. We should have had, but that's beside the point. We're not talking about that. We're talking about tonight.
All right, I've made my request, and I respect your position. I can't explain everything to you. That's my request.
Thank you, though. Appreciate you.
Okay, Mayor?
Go ahead.
You know, I've said it, council, this thing, you are turning this thing into political. The boards are not supposed to be political. It's a voluntary service. Somebody's willing to give their time. He could use that time to go to Florida or Hawaii and feel the sun between his toes, you know, vacation. And this is my first time that I'm seeing over many years when we do vote for board members, regardless of what they say on Facebook or whatever, regardless of what they say in Frontier, and we do normally just support them to go and do what they can do best. There are bylaws. Boards have their bylaws. If this comes up, then we have a system that works through that system, through the city manager, and there is a city attorney, and solve those things. But if you are trying to hold his arm, twist his arm, like it's illegal to file something against me or against any board member here, it's like a ransom, holding somebody, you know, it's not, it doesn't work, it doesn't look very good to the public. He's willing to serve. Now, you are trying to give him his position based on if he can withdraw something that he requested as a private citizen. You know, it doesn't look good. It's just say, if you drop this, then we'll give you this. I'm just telling you, be careful, because some of us might want to serve. And when they see the council that if you don't agree with everybody here, then we are going to question you, grill you down. Nobody will serve. The boards, you'll be putting all the applications out there, and people will say, I don't want to go through this just for serving, volunteering my time. Thank you.
Mr. Goodwin, you did make a good point. Council, the code of conduct was actually designed not for citizens to file violations or complaints against us, but it was for elected officials to file complaints against each other. And as Mr. Goodwin was saying, that's kind of what Mr. Chapman did. He did it as a private citizen, but once he becomes a board member, he'll still have the same rights. His rights aren't changing. So we need to make that understood, that this isn't a bargaining chip that we should be using and bartering him and saying, hey, if you withdraw this, we'll put you on that board. We're not here to sway people in that way and violate their rights to be able to file complaints as they see fit. I know we didn't, but he was saying that you were making that as your argument that you didn't want to appoint him on the board.
No.
Because of the fact that he had put in a second complaint.
That's not the intent. I think
All
you
right,
missed it.
I think I have a motion and a second on the floor. As far as I understand the law, I do have to call for a vote, but I'm going to call for a 10-minute recess first before I call for that vote.
Mayor, we did have a hand in the audience.
Ms. Baggett?
Thomas, a couple of meetings ago, prior to the Charter Review Commission thing, you went on and on and on and on for a good hour or so about, oh, we can't let all these people that signed up and insert your story that you fed everybody about why, oh my God, they did the what do you call it? The recall, this and that. This man, when we went, Danny Roberts sent us to his house with all sorts of, oh yeah, go to his house first. So we went there. This man was excited. Gave me his phone number, gave me his personal email address to go after you, and you. Signed it with mouth, please, 2 or 3 times before Stephen and I could leave his home, please get with me soon so we can get rid of these guys. He does not need to serve on this board. None of us are perfect, and that might predate, but the hostility and disdain he still shows toward everybody that isn't Thomas or Lisa, that's not going to go away. If he can go on and on about, oh, well, they were on the recall, whatnots, Miss Samantha, blah, 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 that's nothing compared to him actively going after 1, 2, 3 of you up there, which coincidentally are up for re-election. So I guarantee you it will get worse with him up there. So we need calm, peace, those up here to serve, no matter who, what, when, where, that are for the betterment of the city and the citizens, not Danny Roberts, Plants, and these two, because back in the day, she also used to want me and others to do exactly as he's doing, serve on there. So you can be my other yes man. I just don't think it's right for a man that was actively wanting 3 of you up here dismissed to serve in any capacity at this time until, especially with the hostility he showed at him this quickly. And it wasn't just I'm angry and I'm an impassioned person, as y'all know. This man showed anger. He's scared. He made a couple of us jump in the audience with how easily triggered he was. And if you can't handle that, I mean, trust me, it's only going to get worse from here with elections impending. So choose wisely, because this city does not need any more drama at the hands of the two.
Thank you, Ms. Paget.
I'd like a word, please. I don't know what she's talking about. I've never had any conversations with, ma'am, I'm talking. I've had never any conversation with Danny Roberts about anything publicly or politically in this whole city. Danny will actually back up from everything that I ask him about. He didn't want to talk about it. So what she's talking about, I have no idea. I have not come with any reins or arrows to shoot anybody or do anything to get rid of you in the council. What I want is a council that serves the city. That's all I want. I don't care who does it. I don't care if I'm involved in it. I want a council that serves the city. That's it. It's just plain. It's simple. It's honest. It's nothing but what the city needs, and I'm willing to help.
Thank you. Ms. Gillen, did you want to speak? Okay, step forward, please.
We're on the Charter Commission and everything, and I know you and Mr. Go, I chose not to be there. But is the whole purpose that if anything that happened before the new Code of Ethics came into play doesn't matter anymore? The reason I'm saying this is because I filed a complaint, and because whatever happened before the new Code of Ethics came in, it was not acceptable. What this happened was before the new Code of Ethics happened. Why is it being brought up now?
Okay,
That's not against him, but that's just clarification.
We're getting a little bit off topic here, but the first complaint against Mr. Johnson was before the code. The second complaint came after the code was adopted.
Okay, I didn't think it was.
It was.
When was the second complaint, Lisa? It all came with one.
The one that's on the meeting tonight.
I mean, you could tell them how to do it, but that ain't the way it was done.
As I said, I'm willing to rescind it. I'd like to just sit down and have a conversation. That's all. I asked a conversation with him, and I'd like you to be there, certainly.
All right, I think we all need to take a breather for a minute. I'd like to call a 10-minute recess at 7:44. Council is in recess. everyone would please. Okay, it is 7:54 PM. Meeting is back in session
Mayor,
from our brief recess. Yes, sir?
in light of what Mrs. Shram was talking about, I'd like to remove my second to the motion, please.
Okay. Mr. Easley has withdrawn his second. We have a motion on the floor to approve the appointment of Robert Chapman to the Economic Development Type B Board. Do we have any other seconds?
Mayor, I'm just having a question regarding that. I know as elected officials, we are given this, and I like your recommendation. And this is the danger. You say let it cool down for a few weeks, months, and then we'll look at it. What if the applicant says, I don't want that, if this is what this is all about?
That's his choice.
Yes. And then now, what you are setting is, because we have some of the history within this meeting here, some board members have actually done worse than what he has done, and yet we have never recalled them or removed them from position.
You cite examples? Can you cite examples? I'm unaware. Can you cite examples? I'm unaware of anything.
I don't think we want to get to
I
that.
can't- I can't-
I don't think we want to do that.
Okay,
Mr.
so you're making an
Easley.
accusation.
No,
Oh, no.
okay, I'm
Did.
having the floor. So I've witnessed being here, some of the board members who have done that.
But you can't cite examples.
I don't want to get into personal kind of, it's in public. I can share it with the city manager, and then he can share with you the memos. So if we are going to go this route, it's going to look like the council, for you to be able to serve any board, you have to be friendly with all of us, or you have to agree 100% with us for you to serve. And that's not the best way to go. It might look very nice. We can say, let's put it aside, let's discuss about, and the issue was because he just genuinely requested for something to be looked into. Now we are making that as an obstacle for him to serve, unless he withdraws that or he gives up that kind of pursuit.
No.
So, and that's what happened. That's what I'm interpreting here.
No.
That's an incorrect statement, just for the record.
Yeah, that's not what happened.
Okay, the public will see it differently. So, I can tell you, this is, I'm telling you from what I've seen, it doesn't look good. If I was wanting to serve a board in Keene, and we come this way trying to, force somebody to be able to fit in before they can be able to serve, based on their own rights that they were exercising.
For the public who's watching and here in the chambers, probably not a good idea to bring a formal complaint against a sitting board member, a city council member twice if you want to serve on a board.
Okay. Mayor, if we got to that agenda item, then you could have asked if this is current, is it a new submission or complaint, or is it a whole complaint? And then you can go from there. So what you're telling me is you're assuming it's a whole complaint and it's not an agenda item. We haven't gotten to it.
It matters not to me today, yesterday, 6 months ago. The fact that the person brought a formal complaint against the city council member is the part that bothers me. That should have been taken care of one-on-one. They should have been able to work that out outside of this chamber and not bring it to the council for executive session.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on at this point. So we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? The motion fails for lack of a second. Do we have any other motion to continue this agenda item to the end of tonight, or a motion to table? Okay, then we're going to move on. Agenda item number 7B, review, discuss, and consider the fiscal year 2024 mid-year budget request.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. I have a couple things to bring to you tonight with our mid-year discussion. I know you allow me the latitude to move money as needed within funds, for example, in general fund, if I had to move money from one place to another. And the reason I've used the wording budget request is this is not a budget amendment. This is a request that stays within budget, so we would not be changing the bottom line budget in any way. We currently have a position that is a part-time facility maintenance position, and we also wrote into the job description because we were having a little bit of, we were trying to work on some efficiency, that they handle the animal control. And so that is funded three ways. EDCA has $20,000 towards that position. EDCB has $20,000 towards that position. And we still have the animal control officer position. So I would like to make this position full-time. We would still stay well within budget, and even next year it would not, it would still be within that budget. That was my original plan A that I was going to pitch to you tonight. But I want to pitch to you a plan B for consideration as well. And again, I know you allow me, the ability to move money, but I felt this was important to come back to council mid-year because it is a personnel request, so request for an additional staff. So I'll just be blunt about it. I do not like how the park has looked lately. It's not being kept up with to the same standards that we've had it. And so I think we're going to have to take some kind of action on that. So with that in mind, kind of came up with a different plan pretty late last week, and that is that EDCA, the $20,000 could fund that position, EDCB fund that position, and by canceling our mowing contract, that would fund that full-time position. We could have this person full-time park and facility maintenance. We still have funded the ACO position, so we could have a position, either part-time ACO or some kind of hybrid position, part-time ACO plus an assistant out there. Now, there is some concern, we've talked back and forth about can one person full-time keep up with the park, the facility, all the mowing, City Hall, Pocket Park, etc. And I don't know. We're kind of mixed on some think we can, some think it would be too much.
Can I say something about that?
Sure.
From my experience of mowing, and I've mowed that park before, one man not gonna do that park in 2-3 days, I could promise you that. And to do everything you're saying, I think what we need to do, and council, we need to have two part-time people. Why do we need one full-time and then another part-time? Why don't we just get 2 part-time, 32? We don't have to pay for the health benefits and that, and 2 people could do a lot than one. So that's my point.
Sure. Yeah, we could do that. I would prefer a full-time and a part-time. Again, we're still well under budget by doing that, and we just get that many more hours and that much more scheduled work. So I mean, ultimately, you know, take y'all's consideration on this matter, but, we, you know, after talking, you know, it takes a 3-person crew, what, about 7 hours.
If you get a 3-man over there, it's
8
gonna take you, it depends on how fast they are, the weed eating, gonna take 1 man all day, if not more.
Yeah.
But if you got 3 people, 2 on mowers that know what they're doing, it's gonna take them 2 days. I could guarantee you that.
Yeah.
But the thing that I seen from, with my own 2 eyes, is from when I seen the guy mowing over there part-time, he looked like he was in left field trying to catch the right ball. We need somebody that's gonna be able to do what it takes to do that park if we're gonna make it right. And I think, again, if we have 2 people, there's no reason, even if we have to do it in 2 days, like a Thursday or a Friday, because Saturday and Sunday, we get people from out of town. The school have a lot of picnics, parties. People see that. And it makes a lot different. I mean, I'm like you. I mean, I've talked to you about this guy before. And 1 man can't do it, and that's what he's running on.
Well, that's my question. If it takes 8 hours, if it takes a crew of 3, 8 hours, that's 24 hours. So, I mean, there's 40 hours in the work week. So I don't know.
But three days to mow that park, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, you would be rinsing and repeating every week. But
Right.
But then again, you're talking about the growth seasons. You know, that doesn't last 12 months.
No, that lasts 8 months. But this year it came a little bit quick, so.
Well, I have to make a change on our, you know, I have to change what we're doing as far as taking care of the park.
Oh,
Currently have that part-time, and we would be well within budget to move that to full-time, whether it's park and facility maintenance / animal control, as you see there, Plan A, or park and facility maintenance.
then what we need,
full-time.
if we're gonna do that, what we need to do is just put them 2 man on parks. Because that's all they're gonna be able to do is a park and over there and City Hall, maybe in a week. It's,
That
like I said, it's,
Animal control.
we're gonna have to buy new mowers,
Yeah.
new weed eaters.
Yeah.
And if we do that, I think whoever we have run the park, we should leave responsible for the mowers. If they tear them up, be like TxDOT. I'll tell you what they do. If you tear it up or have a wreck, it's $500 to come out of your pocket. So you might not like it, but that's the way it is. But I'm like you, you know, I think it takes 2 days, they should have it done. Then they got the park over here. And we get a lot of rain, it's gonna be really bad for 2 days, 2 people. So you need to look at that. I mean, I'm with you, but I'm not with you because we need 2 people, from my experience. So, I mean, if you want the job to look good and do, you know, you gotta have the right equipment for one. 2, you gotta have the right people to know what they're doing. Not just to say, I want them over there mowing, because they could get, not everybody can mow and weed eat. That's the rough part. To make that park look good, you have to have somebody really know what to do in weed eater. Mowing, I say you could learn how to mow, but the weed eating, that's the main part of the job.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I think Mr. Sham, did you want to talk? Ms. Sham?
In many ways, I think both Cheryl Schramm, 1002 West 4th Street. I think either plan is good. I just have a question about the $35,000 mowing contract. Is that only mowing, or does that also involve the field maintenance? Because we're proposing, and correct me, Chuck, if I'm wrong, if I'm not remembering this correctly, but we're proposing to go in there and try to rehab those fields. And I thought that part of that contract, it isn't. That was a separate piece? Okay. So that's just the mowing?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, it's not just mowing, it's not pre-emergence, it's not weed
Okay,
control.
so that was all, okay.
Yeah.
So this is just mowing. So we
It's
still have to go out
basic
for
mowing.
that
Oh.
other,
Yes,
somewhere else? Okay. Because you didn't present this to us at our last meeting, right? This is just a new idea?
This is a new idea.
Okay, okay, I just wanted to make sure.
And we wouldn't be making any change to EDCA or B contributions.
Well, I thought the $35,000 came from B.
So as far as the contributions, though, there's no additional.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure that that was only mowing and that we
I
weren't.
think that is split. I don't think it just comes from B. I think there's some.
Well, I think you're right, but it's not as high of a number. But I just wanted to make sure that, that we weren't like going to put that responsibility on that person too, because then they would have to be qualified to make the fields such that we could rent them out again, or people could
Actually
pay.
would add into that job description that they would need to get their applicator license for pre-emergent weed control. And they'd have to be.
I
And
think,
Ray has brought that up to us before.
I think over time, that person could maybe not fix the fields, but maintain
Right.
the fields a tiny bit.
But if we get the right, you know, with a little mower, a zero turn, get the little thing on the back, little tow hitch, you could do it like that. I mean, I've seen.
Right, you can maintain it. So there's been no maintenance done, so we
Right,
can
right,
maintain
right.
it. But to
Yes.
get them to standards, it's gonna require quite a bit of money. We've
Right.
talked about it in 4B.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think it's under contract that they supposed to do the ballpark, what he's, I've told him many times, because I have people complain to me.
Well, we've got a problem with the water situation anyway right now that we're gonna have to, but that's not this discussion.
Yeah, but he haven't done
Okay.
it none since he's been on this deal, and he should, when it's dry, I've told him several times, you know, from what I've seen, people are complaining, and he's like, you know, he's got a crew, but one man can't do everything over there. That's what I'm saying now.
Yeah,
One man can't win a ball game.
okay. I
Thank
just wanted
you.
to clarify.
So, thank you.
Do we not have a contract for the mowing of the park?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Are you talking about then continuing with that contract?
No, I would cancel, in one of
Yeah.
these plans, I would cancel that contract to help fund the position.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Martin, go ahead. Sorry, I'm just coughing over here.
Yeah, just something to consider if you're talking about getting rid of, you know, option B, I believe it was he presented. And, you know, they're talking about one guy could mow the park and possibly City Hall, all that in a week. But the reason we hired the temporary maintenance person was to clean the bathrooms, hit the trash, take care of the little minor stuff. Now, if all he's gonna do is mow and weed eat, then we're right back to where we started with Public Works is gonna have to go over and clean the bathrooms, which takes about 2 hours every day to go through those bathrooms, all the trash cans, make sure the doggy bags are done, pick up bottles around the park, so just something to keep in mind.
Okay, but the thing is there, since you said that, I see the guys ride around 3 hours with 2 people and they're doing nothing. I have complained to him about it. I mean, so why can't they do the park? It should be their job anyway to do the bathrooms. One of them don't even feel that that's his job. I've complained to him about it. One of them. It ain't his job. Good thing I'm nobody to do something about it.
Just something to keep in mind.
All right, any other questions? Mr. Battle is making a suggestion. Yeah, Mr. Guba?
Oh, question, City Manager. So if this arrangement might be in place with Public Works, especially if they are mowing, if the person is mowing, if this option was to go through, if the Public Work was to come in and help a little bit on maybe on those 3 days, of course, they're not going to mow every single day out of maybe 2 or 3 weeks. So will that be able to help a little bit? For maybe those 3 specific days, you can say, okay, you have been assigned help with the, you know, sanitary kind of situations, and then once it's done, then he can go back to his normal routine.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. I do have to be careful on what we fund through the wastewater fund as far as park maintenance goes, as far as having them help mow. But, you know, I know they were helping out with the bathrooms and stuff, so that's.
Not mowing.
Not
You will take over mowing, and you say approximately 3 days for everything to come to the way it's supposed to be. So if the public works can help with this, with the sanitary kind of situation, bathrooms and all that stuff, maybe 3 days. And then once it's caught up, then they should be able to go back to their own day-to-day routine.
Definitely a possibility.
All right, Mr. Bala, we pay you for your expertise, so tell us what would you prefer? What would you like to do at this point? Do you want to cancel the mowing contract, combine the position? What do you want? What do you see as best for the city?
I would like to cancel the mowing contract and go to a full-time position since it's budget neutral. I wanted your kind of get your pulse and feedback on, if you had a preference for Plan A or Plan B. So I probably need another week or so to look at it, if y'all are amenable with moving forward with one of the plans. So.
Definitely.
I think we want Master Bala to move forward with whatever he feels is in the best interest, and if he thinks that position should be combined,
Agreed.
then I'm good with it. I've not been happy with that mowing contract. If y'all noticed, the part's not looked as good as it used to look. So we need to make some kind of change. We took a risk when we canceled the contract with Don's Lawn Care, and we went out for a bid system. So we went with a lower bid, and we kind of got lower services as a result of it. So we have to try something new. So I'm okay with his suggestion to, let's take this a new direction and go ahead and let's just hire a mowing person. If he can't keep up, we'll deal with that issue as it arises and stuff. We'll see how it goes and keep moving forward. All right, did you have something else you want to speak with, Mr. Bala?
Okay, I have one other item to discuss. The fire department is running pretty considerably under budget. Their budget's looking pretty good at this point in the year. They have one of their vehicles, it's the Tahoe, and every time just about several days a week, I drive by Hops Automotive, that Tahoe is sitting there. So I started looking into the expense and the age of that vehicle. That vehicle, I think, is 21 years old, and we are racking up every few years more expenses on that vehicle than it's worth every year. So we do have an opportunity with the savings under the fire department to this point to replace that vehicle and keep the budget neutral. Now, if you wanted to do that, I would probably wait until probably fourth quarter just to make sure we didn't have some major issue pop up that we needed that money for. But it would be a good opportunity to not have to put that in next budget year, but to replace one of those old vehicles that is pretty problematic. So that's
So this is the vehicle that the fire chief drives? This is a Tahoe? And what year did you say it was?
I think it's 21 years old.
21 years old?
It was old, it was donated.
Any one of us driving a 21-year-old vehicle?
Well, them two trucks
I
was
think
donated.
that was the vehicle that was donated to the fire department
Oh, it
from
was?
Chesapeake.
Yes.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
That's
Chesapeake, if the police one too.
come on up, sir.
If you want to go ahead and step forward, Captain Stroud.
Can't hear you at the moment.
Best of my recollection, it's been a while, but the Tahoe was purchased, it was used when it was purchased, back when Chief Gillen was here. The squad that the captains used to basically chase the ambulance and stuff, not to put mileage on the engines and whatnot, that was the one that was given to us through Chesapeake, the gas company. And then the fire marshal's vehicle was Tim Hagley's old truck that he donated to the fire department and to the city through that. So those are the vehicles. All of them are pretty extremely old. I will attest to, we have a regiment that we have to, and it's not over chief's orders, it's under our maintenance. We have to go out and start chief's vehicle in the morning just to make sure it will start. The squad, we have a jumper box on it just to make sure that we don't get stranded somewhere. I'm not doing a sob story, that's just is what it is, but that's the history of the vehicles as far as what we've got.
Who would know if we got mechanic? I thought we had a mechanic over here in the yard.
One of the biggest issues with that vehicle is it's got an old computer-based system in it, on the, I guess, electronic module or something like that, and that's not replaceable. You'd have to find some wrecked vehicle, causes a constant power drain. But anyway, that vehicle.
No, I understand what you're saying, that's
yeah,
fine.
that vehicle's a mess.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring it to council and address that issue to see if you'd like to move forward with that.
So we have the money in the budget to buy one now this year.
Yes.
Okay,
I would
from savings they've had throughout the year, because they've been staying full staff, haven't had, a lot of overtime or something that's causing us that.
So, yeah, so I would like to wait. I'm coming to you with the kind of a mid-year request, but I would probably wait, like I said, until fourth quarter, just to make sure we were gonna come in
So-
finish line without blowing the budget, so.
I have a question on that, and maybe it's not the same thing, but this man over here is driving a piece of junk. He can't even go to school when he's going out of town, when he should be driving a car. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
He's a chief of police. He's not no patrol officer out here just running the streets. And he drives a piece of junk. I mean, he's embarrassed to drive it place. I know he is. He's got to. So I don't know what we're gonna do with them a car either.
Yeah, no, for sure. We've got several kind of on the priority list, you know. But this is just an opportunity to tick one of those off the list and put it behind us before we go into.
But I don't want him to feel like he's getting left behind when he's here and we're talking about stuff like that. He is a good man doing a good job.
Take him out to lunch tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, as far as I'm concerned, Mr. Ballard, you have my support. If you've got the money in the budget, and this is a 21-year-old vehicle, and if this is the same one that drove me to that fire academy graduation that was kind of like shimmying all over the road, then I think it does need to be replaced, because that's the one I rode in, and I'd like my fire chief to, like Mr. Johnson said, have a nice vehicle to be able to drive. We want both our chiefs to have a nice vehicle. We want them to look respectable and be able to get to where they need to go when they need to get there.
Yeah, I agree with you on that because I.
So I think Chief Warner deserves a new Tahoe or whatever we're gonna purchase.
Can we cut his pay a little bit, maybe?
Is there a budget for this? You can buy a vehicle for $50,000, you can also buy a vehicle for $75,000, and.
Yeah,
So-
correct. Well, we'll have to look at different SUVs and get a good price on that and probably go through some kind of buy board or contract pricing and then probably do it that way. So, I don't have any firm numbers.
No.
But yeah, we'd definitely get a competitive bid, competitive price for probably an SUV. I don't know if they want to change it to a pickup truck.
No, SUV would be good for him.
Is that something like that you can do, like the buy board? Is that the?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be a good way to do that.
Sometimes you can get better deals that way.
Yeah, I would prefer to go through buy board or agencies.
Buy board.
When Nate was here, I talked to Nate about Venus, how they get all their stuff new. He said they lease them, but that seemed like, man, them fire trucks put a lot of wear and tear.
We looked into that last year, and it was going to be a huge expense to get into.
Yeah.
I mean, just a very, very high expense to get into, so we weren't able to do that.
Yeah, yeah, because if you put a lot of miles, they charge you for them, correct? Thank you.
All right, council, Mr. Ballard has asked for 2 requests to make some changes to the facility park maintenance position and to purchase a vehicle for the fire department. We can, at this point, just make a motion to approve these mid-year budget requests and let him do as he sees fits. He's gonna make sure he doesn't change the bottom line of our budget for this fiscal year so that we don't have to do a budget amendment. We can do that, or we can just give him a consensus to move forward. If you want him to bring back you something, something more specific on the price of that vehicle or any more details. What would you like to do, council?
I like to see move on with the vehicle, but the part-time, full-time work, I like to hold that off a little bit.
I was just gonna say, council could just make a motion and let him decide what he thinks is the best. That's kind of what we hired him for. We kind of hired the city manager to do a job, and we want him to do it. And I
Let's
trust,
make a motion that he proceed and use his best judgment.
that's what I'm saying.
Second.
That's exactly what I'm saying, Mr. Bells.
Got a second?
I say let him choose on these options. He's presented them to us. We can see them. and just give him the go-ahead to do what he sees fits for the city, which is what we hired him to do.
All right, let's go ahead and approve that then, I think.
Would you like to make a motion?
Motion, yes.
You want a motion?
We made the motion and Chuck seconded it.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor to approve the fiscal year 2024 mid-year budget request by Bells and a second by Easley. All in favor of the motion, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Motion is carried. Thank you, council.
3 to 4 hour meeting.
Thank you, Council.
2.5 hours.
All right, moving on to agenda item number 7C. Review, discuss, and/or approve the following EDC Type B projects approved by the Keene Community Development Corporation: the purchase and installation of pickleball courts, the purchase of electronic signs, and the purchase and installation of security cameras for city parks.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. You have a resolution in front of you, resolution number 2024-444. This has been through EDC-B. They wanted to move forward with several initiatives, one of them being to purchase some trailer mobile message signs in the amount of $34,800 and some change. We can get those off of buy board contract pricing. This does give us the ability to put signs where we need them to advise of any kind of public events, public notices, public parades, road closures, etc. They have the ability to show their speed, and so they would like to move forward with that. The other item is, and the big ticket item, is the pickleball courts. The reason for the resolution, if council were to pass the resolution, what it would have to do is go to a 60-day public notice, and then if that went through, which don't anticipate any issues, but a 60-day public notice, and then it would come back for a second reading for the pickleball courts. The current pickleball court location is, as you're looking at the park from City Hall to the left of the pavilion. The thought process behind that is it's relatively level there. It's closer to the restrooms, which are convenient, closer to the parking areas for those pickleball courts. We did go after competitive closed bids for that. And then the third item is security system upgrades out there. It was suggested with the 10-year warranty and service plan in the amount of $41,800. If any of you would like to discuss that particular aspect, I did put a section in executive session. We could discuss the security devices out there. But I am happy to take any questions. Again, this has been through B board with all the proper postings and notices.
I know that Mr. Smith would like to speak during this agenda item. I know, I got my pink hat, thank you very much.
I chose to leave my hat off in honor of being in the chambers. I wanted to share some balls with you guys.
Were you trying to be a ball player?
Uh-oh, I'll be throwing stuff at us.
These are pickleballs, we'll get it later, I'm counting.
We get to keep these with your name on them?
No, you
Oh, no,
don't get
please
to
don't
keep
hit me
them.
with the bat.
Okay. Sorry, I'll try to use the mic. 310 Woodlawn, Troy Smith. This is a pickleball paddle. Everybody has one. I didn't give the mayor one because I was worried she's going to hit somebody with it. But I'll let her hold this one now.
I asked him if everybody was
Give
going to
it to
beat me
her,
with this
man.
at the end of the
She might
meeting.
hit
I
you
wasn't
again.
sure.
But I wanted to give you some information about pickleball that I think that you guys might find really interesting. Obviously, I'm sure you guys have all heard the buzz that it is the fastest growing sport in America and around the world right now. And it's beating everyone by large numbers. So one, I just want to try to give you guys some detailed information that will hopefully help coincide with what we're talking about here. So I'm looking at a November 15th, 2021 article, okay? And it's talking about pickleball. And Obviously, it still says it's the fastest growing sport in America. 4.2 million people in America now play at least once a year, okay? There's another article that I could switch to right now, which I will. This article says they estimate that about 36.5 million people have played at least once. So go through those numbers, 4.2 to 36 in just 3 years. You can tell how fast this thing is growing. I'm going to put this into perspective for you a little bit. The city of Burleson has 2 temporary courts, and they are still trying to figure out if they want to actually put in pickleball courts. They haven't even decided that yet. So, one, it would be really cool if we could get ahead of them in the pickleball world. Not for competition reasons, but just so that way it puts us on the map a little bit. Alvarado has 1 court, and it's not very highly publicized. There's a bunch of courts in Fort Worth, and they're all over the place. The city of Claiborne has 3 courts, but they're only indoor, and you can only play at specific times because they parlay that with other sporting events like basketball and I think volleyball in the Booker T. Washington. Now, there are some private courts out there. You've got the tennis center in Burleson, and they have 6 courts for outdoor play, but of course there's a fee associated with it because it's private play over there. So the benefit of having us have our own pickleball courts, one, I used to do a lot of tournaments, some of which I was able to come out a winner and some not, but the times that you go to play at cities, which I've been able to do that several times, they'll have 4 to 6 courts, and then they have basketball courts, kind of like what we do, and they paint lines on those for overflow play during tournament time. So what does this do for the city as a whole, I guess is probably what you're all asking. So one, revenue-wise, people are going to come in, they're going to see 3 pickleball courts, and they're going to want to play here. Now, where are they going to spend their money after they get done playing and they're thirsty or they're hungry? And we've got a few places for them to go. So we're going to get some tax revenue from that. These pickleball paddles that you guys are holding, one, if you touched them, you bought them. So just FYI, I'm kidding. The pickleball paddles that you guys are holding range from $130 to the one that James Bell's has, which is a $175 paddle right there.
Hey.
Okay? Now, they do go up to like $300, $350. I mean, they can get pretty pricey. So what does that tell you about the kind of people that are wanting to play pickleball? They usually they're paying good money to have these paddles in their hands, and so they're spending money. And that's good for our economy. Which will help grow what happens in this town. The beauty of it is right there off of the Old Betsy Road, right past the flags, in a great spot where people can see it, just like we do the basketball courts. We don't get a complaint at all about seeing kids and adults with their parents or whatnot playing basketball. It's just wonderful to see. So why wouldn't we want to see pickleball do the very same thing right next door? The other opportunities that are out there, when I've gone to these tournaments, they talk about having a club right there in their city. So somebody, or maybe even the city, will start a club. And then what do? You pay dues, and dues are for upkeep and maintenance on the facilities there. And the city can actually either gauge that themselves, or you can do a private club, and go with it like that. So there's a lot of different options for growth. Facebook groups are out there in groves. I'm on several. I just looked at 2 of the ones that I'm on, and there's like 1.5 thousand people that are in the DFW Pickleball Club. There's another one for Fort Worth, and it's got like 1.3 thousand people in it. So the buzz is out there. I think Keene is ready for it. I know a guy here in Cleburne who actually built his own court because he was tired of driving all the way to Burleson. So he put one in his backyard, and Another beautiful thing is I am a licensed instructor for pickleball, so I would be willing to donate some time and help get this thing started up. It sounds like the Type B board is ready to go with it, and I'm just here to help promote it. So anyway.
One question I have for you, Mr. Smith.
Sure.
You have 3 pickleball courts that you're wanting to purchase. Are they all going to be side by side? Where are they going to be at in the park?
Currently, the way that me and Mr. Don Martin drew it up, there would be a pathway to enter where you do not encroach on people playing. And so essentially you'll have 2 pickleball courts really close to the pavilion with chain link around it, so that way your balls aren't just flying everywhere. And then 1 off to the northeast of there. So then I think the plan was to leave concrete area available to add in additional benches and maybe a shade structure at some point. Once we see that the growth is there and it's happening, I think those things will probably come fairly quickly.
Okay, so 2 of them will be on the other side of the pavilion where we put the Christmas tree during that Christmas market in that area, that field? Is that where we put the tree? Okay.
Yeah, all 3 will be in the same area. It'll just be one big
Gotcha.
rectangle. So pickleball courts are 20 by 44 feet, so you can fit essentially 4 in the same space as you could a tennis court, which is pretty amazing. So.
Okay.
I got a question.
Sure.
Is it concrete, or how do they do it, if you mind?
You can do it in several different ways. Like I actually work in Tavola Park quite a bit just for the residents, and they have 3 pickleball courts, and they did a slab of concrete, and then they put a surface on top of it.
Correct.
But it's like a plastic surface, and so I don't recommend that, but that's what they did because it's already got the it's already pre-lined and everything, and it's all set up.
Why not?
The ball lands on there and speeds off there in an odd direction, so it's not a natural bounce. So the typical thing would be to do like a tennis court surface.
Right. Another thing, on these right here, you say 100, who's going to pay for these? The people?
Yeah. I mean, people are going to bring their own stuff to these courts. I mean, essentially, if it's done, they'll have 3 permanent nets that are up with poles that are probably into the ground or bolted in some fashion, so that way they can be changed out or whatnot. So I'm sure they have those things available. There is temporary nets, but I don't recommend those if you're going to build actual pickleball courts that are going to stay.
Is that what you're intending to do?
Yes.
What I mean, would like to do?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Is that what you intend to do?
I would prefer that they would be permanent nets, not temporary, because those will just walk off.
Right. Okay. Just wanted to ask a question.
Mayor?
Thank you.
Did you have a question, Mr. Bells?
No, a comment. Sounds like it's cheaper to put in pickleball than it is to mow it.
It'd save us some mowing.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, let me ask a question please before you do that. I notice it says due to the amount of the expenditure, this has to be posted with public notice for 60 days. So are we having it, we posted after tonight's meeting? We have to approve it first?
I wanted you to get it through council first, that way you didn't read something in
Okay.
the paper and, hey.
That's what I was wondering. Should we approve it and then it has to go for a 60-day public notice and then it comes back to council again?
Second reading, yes.
And then we have to do like a second approval?
That's my understanding.
Sorry, the second reading can be the same night as the public hearing to get public feedback.
Okay.
So as soon as you close the public hearing, you can do the second reading approval of that resolution.
So we'll do a reapproval. Okay, so we just want to give them the go-ahead to go ahead and post it and proceed.
And
Okay.
Just
Go ahead,
for the
Mr. Beasley.
record, we did, on our RFP, we did put in there that it be made to USA Pickleball standards, just so if we wanted to have some kind of tournament or something like that.
Absolutely. I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-444 for capital purchases, items requested by the EDC Type B Board as explained below.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve resolution number 2024-444 for capital purchase items requested by the EDC Type B Board as presented. Is that what you said?
As detailed below.
As detailed, okay. by Easley and a second by Bells. Any further questions on the motion?
Mayor, I have a question.
Go ahead.
This one will go to the city manager. I know we are trying to add more things to the park to make it more usable to the citizens. And my question will be, there's a section of that park, I know we have tried to address that issue before. Around this sidewalk, we have a place where the city came and poured the concrete to stop the water from eroding the subsurface of a little section that goes into, that gets the water from the park, one side of the park, into the little, what do we call it? The stream where the water normally flows through. So if we keep adding, I know it's going to take almost $144,000, 714. So if we continue spending like this, so where are we with that kind of situation? Because I'm seeing, again, the water is kind of eroding again, the same area.
Sure. Thank you. Good question. I'll turn that over to Don. I know he just addressed that, I think, at the last B-Board meeting about looking at some engineering for some of the water runoff issues that are particularly affecting the baseball fields, and kind of making ponds out of those. But there's other areas that would need to be addressed. Go ahead.
Yes, that is a good question, but they do have close to $600,000 in their money market account right now, and like the board has expressed, they're not a bank, so let's spend some of that money on some things that are going to do that. And we're also looking at getting our engineers to design a drainage system to keep all that water from going on the ball fields, along with fixing some of the smaller other issues, like where the water comes off of Public Works, across the sidewalk, and into the volleyball courts. We're also looking at possibly a skate park, bike park. We have about 7 different things that we're going to take to the public and kind of put on a survey. And we've met with our grant administrator, and we're talking about applying for some of those grants that are due this month, actually next month, I believe. So there's a lot of different projects.
Okay. So by passing this one, it won't affect these other projects that are in the pipeline?
Well, it just shouldn't, no.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Ballard, do you want to say something?
I know we're in motion already.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second.
May I add something? Just
Go ahead, we're under discussion.
I think it's important to, for the public that's viewing and listening online, that you understand, why pickleball courts, and we need to address streets. This comes out of a different bucket, so I just want to make that that clear for everybody. Now, we are going to, in this budget, look at those buckets again. I talked earlier about maybe taking some of that for a sales tax-based street fund. But right now, we have these buckets that this is what that goes to. So I just want that to be clear for the public. So, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. And I had a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Foster.
Back on those signs, my only concern is that the description is speed alert 24 radar message sign. Knowing my wife has kind of a lead foot, is there any ramifications of this speed alert sign I need to warn her about?
They're not ticket.
I'm not sure you should have sent that from the chief. All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second to approve resolution number 2024-444 for capital purchase items requested by the EDC Type B Board as detailed. Any further discussion on this motion? All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Motion is carried. Agenda item number 8, executive session. Pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551, Texas Government Code, the City Council may convene into executive session at any time during the meeting that a need arises for the City Council to seek advice from the City Attorney as to any posted item and by the following authority. A, Section 551.076, deliberation regarding security devices, security cameras, and access control. B, Section 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations, tractor supply development. And number C, Section 551.074, personnel matters, receive a report and hold a discussion regarding administrative complaint number 2024-0001 against Ray Johnson. Council, are you okay to proceed into executive at this time? Would anybody like to have one of these items discussed in open? Are we ready to convene into executive session?
Yeah, okay. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Would you like to, Mr. Johnson, would you like to ask for your personnel matter to be in open or closed?
Open.
Open?
Yeah, please.
Council, are you okay with doing that now and going ahead and moving to that agenda? Then we'll go into closed and discuss A's and B. Okay, we are now going to discuss personnel matters, receive a report, and hold a discussion regarding administrative complaint number 2024-001 against Ray Johnson. If you guys will just hold on for just a moment, we will get those information
Thank you.
from the back conference room. Can we call a recess for 5 minutes? All right, since we are doing this in the public, a complaint has been filed by a citizen against an elected official, Ray Johnson. This complaint was filed on Wednesday, March 13, 2024, at 4:17 p.m. A brief description of the complaint says, "For the second time, Councilman Ray Johnson has shown the entire council his temper towards me, Robert Chapman. His attempt at apologizing to me was led with anger and hostility, not sincerity. In addition, I was never formally told that there would be nothing done to him for his horrible behavior. All I heard was Ray himself announcing in the council that nothing would be done for his behavior, with a smirk on his face, no less." And this was signed by Mr. Chapman. So that's what we're here, council, tonight to discuss.
Oh, may I have a question?
Go ahead.
So this is based on the current code of ethics, and so what is the process? Like, did it go through you and then go through, what are the?
Correct, that's a good question. So this form is kind of an older form. We've got a new form that actually cites the, what part of that code was the alleged violation. So this was kind of before we had that form available. Basically, the process is that when a complaint is filed, it's sent to the attorney has 15 days to review it for validity, and then it comes back with his comments and recommendation. We didn't quite have that. This did go through the attorney, but we didn't quite have that in place early on, right as the adoption of the code of conduct. But as Mr. Chapman, I didn't want Mr. Chapman to have to come back up to City Hall, fill out the new form, get it re-notarized, send it back to the attorney. I didn't want him to think I was adding layers of bureaucracy, not to start the process back over. So that's kind of how this form is sitting in front of you and kind of the process for this. If that answers any of your questions. So.
And then the second question, Mayor. So once the attorney gets that, he does charge the city for reviewing the complaint?
He does.
Okay. And does he give recommendation, or he just?
He does. In this case, I did not receive a recommendation from him of any violations, but yes, he does charge to review these.
Thank you.
Okay, according to our code of conduct, the city attorney shall submit a written report to the council as soon as possible, but not later than 15 days, so we're well past that. It's been a couple of months. Under section 30.76 is where we are addressing the complaints against officers. And this complaint does not have a cite of exactly what the violation is under our code of conduct. Is that correct? Yes, do you agree with that? If you're reading the code that you've passed, a general complaint lacking in detail shall not be sufficient to invoke the investigation procedures contained herein. And of course, anonymous complaints shall not be considered. But this is not anonymous. And it just said that the city secretary shall provide a copy of the complaint to the affected officer and city council and refer it to the city attorney. So it's been done to the city attorney. He has not given us a written report as to a recommendation on how to proceed. Council, what would you like to say?
Well, there's nothing to say. This was all done, unless this is a new event. But I see that it was 2024-0001 was the designation on the piece of paper. I don't have my paper in front of me, but when it said, I read it somewhere. Oh, maybe it's on this.
Oh, it's on the.
It's on the agenda. An executive session says personal matter complaint number 2024-0001, which just, and logically, I'm just assuming that that's the first complaint and only complaint against Mr. Johnson, which happened before we passed his code of conduct. So I'm just baffled why we're going back to the code of conduct. It doesn't apply in this situation. So, am I wrong?
This was filed just after our code of conduct, and again, we didn't have the form created.
But the event in question happened before the code of conduct
I
was
think it
implemented.
happened at the meeting where we approved the code of conduct, if I'm not mistaken. It was at the meeting we approved it, so we approved it. This violation occurred right after that, in that same meeting, and that's where he filed the complaint thereafter.
Oh, okay.
Why did he make two complaints? First
Good.
one he did, then he make another one after that. So that don't make sense to me why he did two. So he was pretty smart when you told him how to do it.
So in the explanation, Mayor, it seems like it's still referring to the first event in the description. Right, it's still referring to the first, his description, it refers to the first event, and he's unsatisfied with the apology.
Yeah, it's referring to the one before.
Okay.
Again, we didn't have a formal code of conduct,
Right.
but we still have a code that we follow as far as being ethical up here and respectful toward citizens when they come before the court, come before the council.
The code of conduct was not in effect that evening. Code of conduct wasn't signed that evening.
We were all given 10 days to sign the code of conduct after that meeting.
All right, council, if you look at under section 30.77, the code of conduct, I don't know if you have yours in front of you, it just says, let's assume that he filed this correctly, let's assume that he did everything right and he said a violation occurred. Your actions are to just simply, number one, issue a statement finding the complaint is without merit, brought for the purpose of harassment or brought in bad faith of what maybe the intent was, and then the next goes on to say issue a letter of admonition, a reprimand, and then et cetera. So at this point, we can just have Mr. Chapman and Mr. Johnson see if they can't just resolve this issue. And I think we did that earlier today. I think Mr. Chapman said that he wanted to withdraw this at this time, and they're going to try to move forward positively for the city. Yes, Mr. Chapman?
I absolutely have. I said earlier this evening that I wanted to rescind it, and it was only one event, wasn't two events. And I just want what's best for the city of Keene. I want people to understand that we have to get along, we have to be team players, and that's all I want. So I'll rescind it right now.
Okay, so Mr. Chapman is rescinding it. Mr. Johnson, do you have anything you want to say about that, since he's rescinding it?
Well, that's fine, I appreciate it, thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, okay. Okay, council, we're ready now to go into executive session to discuss A and B. So it is 8:54 PM. We're now entering into executive session. Please adjourn.
Lisa, can we, on the agenda?
All right, we are reconvening into open session at 9:18 PM. There is to be no action taken. So moving on to agenda item number 10, request for future items on the agenda. Council, do you have anything you'd like to request? Do you have your mic on, sir?
I'd like to see what council think about maybe having a split. I was down out of town, and the two of them, I seen different area, different town, with splash, you know, where, like a pool, but there ain't pool, it's water splitting up and kids.
Oh, okay, like a splash
I
pad?
think we talk about
That would be something for the type B board to address, and I think they have talked about that in the past. So we can present that to them.
Yeah.
Anything else, council? All right. It's 9:19 PM. Council is adjourned.